Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes are sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions and lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Stack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proceed, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes are sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Hello, my friends. Go Buffs. Thank you, Chris. Go Buffs. Hello, everyone. Hello, my friends. Today is Tuesday, September 9th, and it's like, what can I say? Except thanks to all 500 of you who sent me this fakakta piece of legal writing, if you want to call it that, last night, and I just my eyes glazed over. I couldn't. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Yeah, I'm like jumping around the screen. I don't know. I'm on the Ethernet. I don't know why that would happen. So many things to do today. So many things to cover, and yet here we are. This is the case that never ends. Just goes on and on, my friends. I can't even really give commentary on this, really. It's going to be color commentary. It's going to be entertainment, because it's just so far out there that intelligent commentary would be impossible, because it's so procedurally just wrong. And it's so strategy-wise stupid. Stupid. I'm not smart, I'm stupid. It's like Fredo filed this. You know what they say? Like, she who represents herself has a fool for a client. And they say that about lawyers representing themselves, but this is just, I almost don't even want to correct it, because I don't want to give any help to these people who made it their life's mission to try and destroy me. Some of these new, you can't even call them co-defendants, because it's totally improperly done. This whole thing peripherally involves me. If you know, you know. If you don't, I don't even really want to talk about it. But this is the reason that I'm not on Twitter anymore. And I wasn't on Twitter, really. I had an old account from, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And I posted like pictures of me with the New York Rangers when I would go to like casino night for the New York Rangers and donate money and, like silly things. I hadn't even used the Twitter account of mine in like a decade. And all of a sudden people are tagging me, and people are thinking that I'm this person, Haley Walbrecht, and calling for my disbarment. And Grant Smith Ellis was a big offender there. Yeah, that was the problem. The Rangers were the problem. That was the problem, kindergarten cop. And so they thought that I was this person, Haley Walbrecht. And boy, did they come for me. I was like, first of all, I don't even like, Why would I want to release documents on Lindsey Gaetani? I don't even know who that is. And number two, why are they coming for me? And number three, why do I want to be on a platform where people can just say whatever they want about you and you have no control over it? I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't have time. You know who's got time for this? Nobody. Certainly not me. And so they think I rage quit Twitter. I was just like, I don't even know what this is. Who are you people who enjoy doing this all day long? It's not for me. But here we are in the land of the lost. Oh, let's get Chaka up there. Let's get Chaka up there. You know, and any grown adults, any like, and most of the people out there that are trolling are like, I want to say women in their 40s and 50s and 60s. Like, that's who it is mostly. There's a couple of men out there, you know who they are, but it's gross. And I know that 80% of my audience is not on the cesspool of Twitter because we did a poll one day. And that's good. Very good. Excellent job, class, in being not on Twitter. And they will never stop accusing me of being, I don't know, fake accounts on Twitter. I don't have time for it. Hand to God, it isn't me. This isn't. So it's going to be funny. I don't know who signed it. I don't know who I think I know who drafted it. And I think we can all guess who drafted it. She filed it pro se. But what we got to do first is, I don't think we ever covered the civil case that Aiden Carney filed against Lindsey Gaetani. It's a defamation lawsuit. And so because it's only 6 pages long, as opposed to the 91-page answer, we might as well, since we're here and all, look at the 6-page complaint that was filed by Aiden Carney against Lindsey Gaetani back in when was this filed? What's the date? January of 2025. Okay, that's how old this is. January of 2025. I know, it's so annoying when work gets in the way of true crime. Yes, says Dakota. It is so annoying. I have so many things to talk about with you, and I couldn't plan it for this morning because the plumber gave me a window of when the plumber was going to come. And then right as the window was closing, they called me and said, we're really sorry, but the plumber fell down the stairs and got injured. We're going to have to get somebody else over to you. And so that took up my whole entire morning. That's why I planned this for 4, because I knew at least the plumbing would be done. But I figured we could have a couple hours in the morning. We can catch up on the Josh Hubert trial, which is wild. Aiden Carney went there today. He went to the bridge that the girl was thrown off of. I have some testimony for you from yesterday, how the father of this 7-year-old girl is explaining away the seminal DNA that was found in her underwear that did not match the kidnapper, Josh Hubert, who is on trial right now for a 2017 incident in Worcester. I wanted to tell you about this Amish woman who drowned her son and said she sent him to God. And there's body cam footage of that. And then there's like an arraignment for that. And then I wanted to tell you that Kelsey Fitzsimmons finally was released to her parents yesterday. I think that was the last night. I don't know. It feels like a million years ago already. Due to the hard work and the relentless efforts of Tim Bradle and his amazing paralegal, Courtney Healy, who you could just tell in the press conference. I put a community post up about it with the Mass Live video of them speaking to Mass Live, of Tim Bradle speaking to the reporters after the afternoon court appearance, which took hours for them to finally release Kelsey Fitzsimmons, even though news reports had her released August 29th. No, the judge wanted to dot all I's, cross all T's, and insisted on an ankle monitor. And she was supposed to have surgery today. Kelsey was supposed to have surgery today. And Bradle was in court saying, because Mike Crawford from Young Jerks went to court because we couldn't stream it because there was no Zoom. Not that they wouldn't allow it, because I was going to do it anyway, but they didn't even have the Zoom camera on. Fitting her with an ankle bracelet, and Tim Bradle said, listen, she's having surgery tomorrow, and many doctors will not do surgery if there's an ankle bracelet on. You can't even wear jewelry when you have a surgery. You got to take your earrings out. And the judge was like, he said, listen, she'll go for the surgery and then come back after her surgery to probation and they can put the ankle monitor on. And the judge was like, yeah, no. So I don't know whatever happened with that. So that's insane. But there's so many other things. So just get prepared for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. We're going to start early. It's going to be like 9:30. So many new filings on Brian Walsh's case that we need to go over. Yes, Irina Zarutska. I would like to talk about that. And here's the thing, Mark Pugner. People were blasting me when I covered the Daniel Penny trial. And for those of you who don't know, maybe I don't know if she's Mennonite or Amish. I don't know, but the headline that I read from Law and Crime said Amish. So I'm just, I'll find out the real facts. But Mark Pugner, here's when I covered the Daniel Penny trial, I was getting killed by people in the chat. Some people in the chat who said, well, you just can't go around killing people just because you think they're a threat. If Daniel Penny was on that train that's this woman, Irina Zarutska, was on, she might be alive right now. Okay. So think about that, because that is exactly the kind of situation that Daniel Penny was trying to prevent when he was on that subway train, subduing the paranoid schizophrenic who was high on all kinds of drugs, and then was prosecuted in New York City for manslaughter, and he was acquitted. So you know what? I wish Daniel Penny was on that train for that poor 23-year-old girl who escaped the hellhole of the Ukraine war zone and came here, and then is sitting on a, I don't know what they call it, a light rail train. It looks like a subway card. It looked like a bus to me from just the video that I saw. It was really disturbing. That is something else that I wanted to talk to you about. So there are so many things that we need to talk about. We're going to do it tomorrow. It'll be like a full day. So buckle up for that. But tonight, my friends, we're going to be entertained by Lindsey Gaetani and her ghostwriter in Worcester Superior Court. And she doesn't know it yet. Maybe she does. But her filing actually helps Aiden Carney in a lot of ways. So, okay. I guess we're going there. So let's try and stay on topic for now anyway, because we always get off into like 25 side conversations. You may need to take the day off tomorrow because there's so much happening. All the way back in January 2025, Aiden Carney filed a lawsuit against Lindsey Gaetani for defamation. And then what had happened was, instead of filing an answer, she filed a motion to dismiss. And the motion to dismiss was denied. We did go over the motion to dismiss. I believe, right? There's been so many cases and so many motions to dismiss involving Aiden that I'm conflating. You just can't make this up. So, I mean, I really can't even put this on the screen because it has the word grape in it so many times and YouTube hates that word. So, but I'll just put it up and I'll briefly explain to you, because it's only 6 pages, what his original complaint against Lindsey Gaetani contains. This was filed again in Worcester Superior, all the way back in January. And Aiden, smart enough to have an attorney representing him. He's not representing himself. And it's Aiden Carney versus Lindsey Gaetani, and it's a plaintiff's complaint with demand for jury trial. And just jurisdictional. Lindsey Gaetani is a resident of Norfolk County, which I did not know. Aiden is a resident of Worcester County, which is why it is filed in Worcester County, because plaintiff's residence is one of the ways to get jurisdiction in a county. And I'm going to get my red pen ready, and I'll try and like get ahead of myself and just cross off the A in the word grape. And if you know, you know. YouTube doesn't like it. They think we're promoting it somehow. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just trying to play by the rules over here. That's all I'm doing. On multiple dates and occasions beginning in 2024, defendant Gaetani has made defamatory statements against the plaintiff, Aiden Carney. On multiple dates and occasions beginning in 2024, defendant Gaetani has written and published to her social media accounts and to other sources and media defamatory statements about the plaintiff. The following paragraphs are separate and distinct examples of defamatory comments and writings made by the defendant. On or about June 29th of 2024, the defendant described the plaintiff as the abusive, lying rapist himself on a social media account. On June 29th, 2024, the defendant wrote, "Do not ever tag that rapist on my page ever again," referring to the plaintiff. On July 5th, 2024, defendant wrote and posted, "Kearney is a rapist." On July 17th, she referred to him as the abuser and rapist. On August 14th, and he goes on to give many examples of all of the times that she called him a rapist, which is, defamatory. Great job blocking the grape. Thank you. On August 14th, she posted that he abuses drugs and all the help in the world won't cure his severe mental illness and personality disorder, and he will still be a rapist. In August of 2024, the defendant posted to social media account, "Let me make something very clear. Aiden Carney is very much a rapist." And then in October, again, "It's creepy. The rapist can't stop talking about me." In October 2024, he posted, allegedly, "Based on the lies of the rapist himself, who is a felon," she posted when referring to him. November 12th, she wrote, "He did commit grape. Only thing worse than a rapist is a lying rapist." On November 15th, she described him in writing as the cult leader, abuser, racist, liar, manipulator, narcissist, sociopath. She then posted, "The rapist lied," and then referred to him as a rapist cult leader, which she posted to her social media account. And then Kearney is very much a rapist, like apparently very many times. She kept posting this and posting this and posting this. She then posted allegedly to social media a manufactured photograph of Aidan apparently restrained in prison with a person holding a knife to his neck, implying that plaintiff is a criminal. On multiple dates, she's made false and defamatory statements that Kearney committed a crime. And multiple dates, 2024 to the present, has made false and defamatory statements in writing to third parties that he committed a crime. And other statements that he suffers from disease or illness to third parties and on social media. And then it says all of the defamatory and false statements made by the defendant were made with actual malice. All of the defamatory and false statements in writing and published by the defendant were made with actual malice, falsely, or with reckless disregard for their truthfulness. And then there's a cause of action for slander. Slander is spoken, libel is written. The easy way to remember that, S, slanderous, spoken. Libel is written. That's how I remember it. The defamatory and false statements of this defendant herein were slanderous. The defamatory and false statements of the defendant constitute slander per se, made with actual malice. And because of that, the plaintiff, Aiden Carney, has suffered damages, harms, and losses. Count 2, libel. Repeat, rinse and repeat. The defamatory and false statements are libel and libel per se. Per se just means as a matter of law. If something is libel per se as a matter of law, it's automatically libel. And it can be such things as, depending on the state that you live in, accusing someone of committing a crime, things involving moral turpitude, which you'll see in in her pleadings quite a bit, as if somebody just pulled out the statutes and regurgitated them into the pleadings. And as a result, Aiden Carney suffered damage, harms, and losses. And then he sues her for intentional infliction of emotional distress, or IIED, saying that she intended, knew, or should have known that her false and defamatory statements and writings would cause emotional distress to Kearney. that her conduct was extreme and outrageous, that her conduct went beyond any definitions of decency and is intolerable in social media, amongst individuals and within the community, and that her conduct caused plaintiff severe emotional distress. Therefore, I want money. And then injunctive relief is also sued for, in which the plaintiff respectfully requests that Lindsey Gaetani be permanently enjoined from making any statements, post to any social media account, or otherwise publish any words, photographs, or any other type of communication stating that the plaintiff has committed any crime or suggests that the plaintiff has committed any crime, is a rapist, or implies that he's a rapist, that he's a felon, or suggests that he's a criminal, and that the plaintiff suffers from any illness or disease or any other false or defamatory statement of any kind. I demand a jury trial, XOXO, David Heinlein, Esquire, for Aiden Carney. And that was 6 pages. Well, she filed a motion to dismiss. And then that was denied. So she filed her answer with counterclaims. Let's go back to law school, Torts 101. I guess I'm going to have to pull this up, but I am not reading all 91 pages. If you think I'm going to sit here and read all 91 pages to you, hell no. You know who's got time for that? Nobody. If you would like to see who did the Lord's work, there are a couple of other YouTubers who did actually read all 91 pages. And I think the Glairer is one. I think he did it in 2 different streams. Broken Baker may have done it. Oops. Did he do it? Did he read all 91 pages? I'm not sure. But I'm not doing it. But I will do this for you. I'm going to show you the thing that I play on repeat all day, every day. Well, not all day, but a lot of days, just to get me through the day. Hold on.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I'm here.
I just play it on loop all day long. Cardi B is my spirit animal. Here you go.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I'm here.
Hello. What are we doing here? Hello. That's what it's like. Hello. Who filed this? Hello. Who drafted this? Who's got time for this? Nobody. And I would have secondhand embarrassment, but I don't even have the capacity to feel secondhand embarrassment for this person or the person who helped there. Or hello. The attorney said to Cardi B, hello, I'm here. Hello. Thanks, Cheryl, for becoming a new member. I think you're going to like it here. Just Rhonda. Don't feel like I belong, but now I can get facts. Everybody belongs. Everyone belongs here. Everyone is welcome here. Unless you're a jerk, and then we just kick you out. It's just all you got to do is be nice. That's it. Lucy Fair says I needed a cupcake stream so much today. Thanks, Lucy. Laura, hi, Laura. Riker, Oblivious Benson has been covering the missing and Jones Beach lately. I would love to see you two on a stream again. I love you both with all my heart. That's awesome. Anytime I can squeeze it in, there's a couple of things I need to go over on that Hurman case, including the very long decision on allowing in nuclear DNA, which is the first time it's ever going to be allowed in New York State. I have a feeling that is going to be appealed, that decision, because it is relatively new technology that hardly any states allow. It has to do with the rootless hairs that were found on the victims, and I think it may go up on appeal. Thank you very, very, very much. I've been so wrapped up in other things and moving my kids and all that other stuff that it's on the list. I promise you it's on the list. Sue says she might have been able to add the other parties legally due to a strange Massachusetts law per Haley. Oh, like I'm gonna follow that guy's advice after that guy pretended to be me for how long on Twitter, or at least when people said that they were me, did not deny being me, or denied being me, but they thought it was just me denying being Haley. So you know what, Suze, I'll take your $5, but thanks. Lindsey tagged Cardi B about this yesterday and nearly fell out of my chair. Thank you, Suze. Ashley Lauren, big problem with Cosgrove since Mello was removed. Yes, she is going to disqualify. Cosgrove is going to have to step down. So who are they going to hire to prosecute now? Aiden Carney, Brennan? I mean, who's next in line? Because now Cosgrove is going to be conflicted out because maybe he's a co-defendant with Aiden Carney, but not really because this isn't the way that you do it. Thank you, Kirsty Nursey M, for becoming a new member. I appreciate you all so very much. Yeah, Mitchell's like, Haley who? You'll see. You'll see. And if you're not on Twitter, just don't go there. Just don't do it. That's why I left. Okay. So Lindsey files pro se, which means without an attorney, allegedly. But we know that she didn't write this. An answer to the complaint and a counterclaim. Okay. Let me explain to you what a counterclaim is. If you are sued, you can file a counterclaim against the person who sued you. That's why it's counter. You sue me, I sue you back. That's a counterclaim. You can't counterclaim against someone who's not a party to the action. Okay, this is just basics. So what she does here is she says, I'm going to answer the complaint and I'm going to counterclaim, not just against Aiden Carney, who, as you see, is the only other party in this lawsuit, because you can see the parties in the caption, Aiden Carney versus Lindsey Gaetani. Those are the only two parties to this action right now. She files an answer and she counterclaims against Aiden Carney, which is proper because he's a party. But it says additional counter defendants, Medfield Police Detective Dylan Haldeman, Massachusetts State Police Lieutenant Brian Tully, Norfolk District Attorney's Office Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove, and Jason Broyles. Jason Broyles, aka Haley Walbrecht on Twitter, aka not Haley Walbrecht on Twitter, aka maybe some other Twitter accounts. I don't know. I don't care. My point is, you can't counterclaim against somebody who's not a defendant. This is not the way you do it. There are ways that you can do it. And I talked about this when we talked about the civil case for Karen Reed. O'Keefe's sue Karen and the two bars. Karen can then third party, it's called impleader. She could file a third-party complaint against the people that she thinks are responsible for John O'Keefe's death because she's saying, you sued me, but it wasn't me, it was them. So the proper way to do that is to file a third-party complaint by the defendant against new parties, and then you bring them into the action. See how that works? Another thing that she could do would be file a separate lawsuit against them and then consolidate the cases for purposes of a trial or move to consolidate. But you can't just toss out there that you'll sue it, that these people are all of a sudden magically counter defendants. It's not the way it works. I don't know who's giving her advice, but I have an idea. And maybe if you're going to get advice from someone, legal advice from someone, you might want to wait until they graduate law school and actually pass the bar. I'm just saying. Stop making me learn things, says KLB. It's just the way. You can't just magically say, I'm asserting counterclaims against Kearney and additional counter defendants. Okay, that's the first problem. It's not the procedure. It's procedurally improper. The second problem is that police officers and district attorneys have qualified immunity. Certain types of immunity would apply to them in cases such as like this. There are very few ways that you can get around immunity, none of which are pled here. So I'm not really quite sure how she thinks that she brought them into this case, first of all. And that second of all, they wouldn't be immune from this type of action. Okay. You can't just go around suing district attorneys because they ignore you. And you can't just go around suing Brian Tully, although I wish that you could, for ignoring you. And I can't even see how they could even possibly file an answer here because technically they're not defendants in this case. Technically, procedurally, they're not in the caption. They haven't been third-partied in. They haven't been actually sued. You can't just write about it and wish it into being. Do you understand? And that is why it just seems so ridiculous to even talk about this, but you guys like to learn. And so I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you. Even Jason Broyles cannot be third-partied into the case this way. You don't get to just say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to assert counterclaims against these people too. It's mind-numbing because it's so not a thing. It's just not a thing. Maybe even in Massachusetts, it's not a thing because Massachusetts is like land of the lost, Narnia, upside down, inside out world. And yet, for 91 pages, the defendant here, Lindsey Gaetani, wants us to believe that she's done it right. Sometimes you get what you pay for. And if you're getting it for free, you might not want it. By written agreement of the parties, she says, this answer is due by close of business on September 5th, 2025. So they must have given her extension of time to answer, which is a courtesy that is granted to most defendants. Usually an answer has to be filed within 30 days of receipt of service. But here she filed that motion. It took a while to decide and then was denied. And then, right, it was in this case, right? She filed the motion to dismiss that was denied. Because we did go over that. And they gave her an extension and it was due by the 5th. So, it popped up in a Google Drive file that 500 of you sent me last night. And so here we are. But hang on for 1 second. Right. Okay, now I recall. So she filed a motion to dismiss and it was denied August 15th. We did go over that. And then there was another trial that we watched about Aiden's alleged violation of the restraining order against Lindsey Gaetani. And that trial was a one-day trial. Was it a one-day? Maybe it was a two-day trial. It was a bench trial, and it happened during the Karen Reed trial. And Paul, I keep wanting to call him Paul O'Neill, but Paul O'Neill's a Yankee, and he's a really good guy. Paul O'Keefe was really mad because he had to go testify in Aiden Carney's trial, and it was a bench trial, and Aiden Carney won. So now hell hath no fury, like a woman who keeps losing, and she's just going to double down and triple down and quadruple down and try and sue triple dip Cosgrove. I don't know, but I would almost say that I feel bad for her. I know she watches the show because she's been in the chat before, yelling at me. But if you've watched any of my shows, I've talked about exactly how to do this. I've talked about exactly how to do it right. And you didn't listen. You listened to that other guy. And here we are. It's embarrassing. And what are you going to do when all of these people make motions to get out of the case? You're still going to be representing yourself them? For the love of the traveling Mary. All right. Additional defense. Plaintiff's request for injunctive relief in the complaint seeking to silence Gaetani's speech about her victimization constitutes an unconstitutional prior restraint in violation of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. She's saying, you can't tell me that I can't tweet about him. You can't tell me that I can't talk about him on social media. That's not right. And then whoever wrote this keeps putting like little hints in parentheses here. Such relief is also an abusive process as it aims to taint the jury pool in Kearney's criminal cases by intimidating Gaetani, a victim and a witness, and then puts in parentheses, abusive process for ulterior motive. And then her answer to the complaint. And it goes paragraph by paragraph. Admitted, denied, admitted, denied. I did not say anything defamatory. And if they are facts, they're true. And if they're not, they're substantially true. And I thought they were true. And my opinions are protected under the First Amendment. And I admit that I made some of those statements, but I deny that they're defamatory, false, or actionable. And those statements reflect my honest beliefs based on my direct experiences with the plaintiff, including an incident of non-consensual. You might not want the kids in the room for this one, guys. Just letting you know. Non-consensual sexual activity on October 14th, 2023. We're going to hear a lot about this October 14th, 2023 date, and a lot about what she says happened. And if you want Aiden's side of what happened on this day, you can go to his channel. He's got 1 million streams on it. I'm not opining on what happened. I wasn't there. I'm reading the papers. And just because they're in the papers does not make them true. This is her version of the truth. I'm not taking sides. I'm not playing favorites. I'm not opining on what actually happened because I wasn't there and neither were you. Okay? She says everything that I said was a fact, a protected opinion, or rhetorical hyperbole in the context of heated public discourse. It's like Grant got out his law book and just copied everything and threw everything in it, threw everything in there. Every single thing that he could find in every statute everywhere, he just put it in. If he's the one who actually granted it. And I didn't call him a drug addict, but if I did, it's only because I observed him and his behavior suggests that he is a substance abuser and has mental health issues. Because of my observations, I said that. And therefore, any such statements were made without malice and in good faith. Furthermore, she says, Kearney has made multiple public statements about his mental health conditions, for example, depression and anxiety, and Kearney has publicly admitted to threatening suicide. I don't know about that. Did he in his complaint say anything about her saying that he was suicidal? It was mostly about being a rapist, right? And therefore, I didn't make any of these statements with actual malice or reckless disregard because that's what you have to prove in a defamation case. And I say that they're true. Therefore, yeah, Grant should read this actually on his very busy screen. Have you ever seen his streams? The screen is so busy. It's like 1 million tickers and boxes, and it's bizarre. Count 1, slander. She says, well, here's my defense. Everything I said was true, and so I didn't slander you. Everything I said was true, and even, though I said it, you, Aiden Carney, have also said all of these things, so no big what. And by the way, after I made all of these statements about you that you say are defamatory, your numbers went up. She says, in fact, after the statements were made, Kearney reached 150 subs on YouTube. And then she's got a bunch of footnotes here of shows that Aidan did, shows or articles, I'm not sure. From 2021, Aiden Carney, Why I'm Taking a Mental Health Break. And then 2024, Turtleboy's Prison Journal Part 1. And then in 2021, a suicide prevention live stream tonight at 9. In this regard, Kearney has also publicly stated in the time since the statements were made that his income has gone up, that he is more successful, and that Kearney has an upcoming movie, podcast, and book deals. Footnote 5. Well, even if his income did go up, I don't think he was asking for any lost wages in there, right? That doesn't make it not slander or libel or defamation. So, nice try, but both things can be true. He can be more successful now after you made those statements, and what you did could also be defamatory. See? And then she tries to make up excuses for the libel and the intentional infliction of emotional distress, and I didn't mean it, and it wasn't extreme and outrageous. It was responsive to the plaintiff's own extreme actions, including alleged SA, threats, harassment, and public defamation of the defendant. Gaetani's public statements were also made due to the negligence per se of state officials who disclosed the grape report in violation of law and their duty to Gaetani. And because those officials failed to take action on her report, despite informing Gaetani that the investigation of Kearney for grape was and remains open. Okay. They're telling her the grape charges against Aiden Carney are still open. Let me just, I'm just going to toss this out there for just fun. Okay. Do you think, between you and me, that there was any shred of credibility to these grape allegations? Because there's video and everything, and they looked at it. They looked at it. They looked at the video. They looked at the text message. Do you think if there was any chance in hell that they could convict Aiden of graping this woman, that they wouldn't have grabbed it? I mean, according to someone who wrote an affidavit in Aiden's case, in one of the zillion motions that we've read, Kate Peter, the not so confidential informant, well, allegedly Jennifer McCabe bought her a couch, but that wasn't what I was actually thinking of. What I was thinking of was Jennifer McCabe sending an email or a text message to Michael Marcy, I think. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I know you will. We're very collaborative here. Saying, if Aiden's not in jail, I'm not testifying at the second trial. And I think that is something that the witness who signed the affidavit said that Kate Peter told her, that Jen McCabe said. I know it's double, triple, quadruple hearsay. Don't you think they would have convened a grand jury on this? Because they did convene a grand jury on some other things, like trying to get a grand jury to indict Aiden Carney and Karen Reed in March of 2024 for alleged conspiracy to commit witness intimidation, and the grand jury did not return a true bill on that. So it is my personal opinion that if there was any merit, any way in hell that they could have taken this to a grand jury and tried to indict him on grape charges to get him back in jail, they 100% would have. 100%. 100%. Don't you tell me it's still open. They would have done it by now. Come on. This alleged essay occurred in October of 2023 or 2024. Wait, hang tight. '23, almost 2 years ago. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on grape. There may not be one in Massachusetts. But what had happened was, this happened, this alleged grape, and then the setup. And you're going to see, because it's attached as an exhibit, the fake grand jury subpoena that somebody drafted and Tully served on Lindsey Gaetani. She may not have known that it was a fake grand jury subpoena, but it was fake because there was no grand jury yet, because no crime had been committed and the other grand jury had already been over. So trust me when I tell you, they would have done anything to shut him up. And they did, because eventually, as we're going to see here, or maybe you don't even know the whole story, Tully serves Lindsey with a fake grand jury subpoena that we're going to look at. It's an exhibit around December 22nd, 2023, 2 months after the alleged grape. And then there's some collusion, maybe, in my opinion. And there's a 4-way text chain going on between Kate Peter, the not so confidential informant, Lindsey Gaetani, the defendant in this action, Brian Tully, the, I don't know, detective lieutenant, I don't know what his position is or was or should be, and Ken Mello, who has just been disqualified in one of Aiden Carney's cases. There's a 4-way text chain going on, allegedly, because a lot of them are unimpounded. Between the 4 of them, while Aiden Carney is at Lindsey Gaetani's apartment, and before and after. The text chain is confirmed. She's served with this fake grand jury subpoena December 22nd, I believe. You know what that does? It makes her a witness under the witness intimidation statute, right? Say no more. And then she calls him up and says, oh my God, Tully just came to my house and served me with a grand jury subpoena. They want me to come in and testify against you. And then he goes there to her apartment, December 23rd, which is Christmas Eve. And I'm not going to get into all the details of what happened there, but it's horrific and it's bone chilling. And you should go to his channel and listen to the recording of the conversation. She's a maniac. She sounds like she's having a mental health break. She's threatening. She had told him that she was pregnant, which she doesn't bring up here at all. And she had provided him with a sonogram that was dated. Well, the metadata on the sonogram was maybe a couple of years old, it turns out. And then she was going to take the pills and then was threatening all kinds of things. And let's not put the words in the chat. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And during that time, she says that he pushed her on the couch and tried to get her phone away from her and caused an assault and battery. And because of that, because of her alleging this domestic DV battery against him, because of course she speed dials Tully, right? She didn't call 911. She calls Tully. And he's like, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to go to the Medfield police. I'll report this. I'm going to go. I'll take care of it. They put a bolo out for him. And then Bradel turns him in on his birthday, December 26th. He gets his bail revoked because that's what they wanted to do. And he gets put in jail, sentenced to 90 days. Then they realized, oh, that's against the law. We can't hold him for 90. We can only hold him for 60. And he did 60 days in jail because of this. How much would somebody have to pay you to do 60 days in jail? Just curious. Put a number in the chat. How much would somebody have to pay you to do 60 days in jail? In solitary, by the way, because he was in solitary in medical or whatever, because, you know, there was guys like Brian Walsh and Harry Turk in there. Hold on. And don't hold me to the dates. Somebody said the bolo went out on the 24th. I don't know. I know he turned himself in on the 26th, and that's what had happened. And he had a car accident, I think, on his way home from there because she wouldn't let him leave. And it's a mess. It's a mess. And he recorded the conversation because he knew, had an idea, maybe in his opinion, that she was trying to set him up. And I can't unhear that recording. I remember it's horrible. You can go there, you can find it. I'm not going to play it. Microdots is doing a video on this. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. That was my little side quest for the moment. Right. A lot of people are like, you couldn't pay me. You couldn't pay me money. You couldn't pay me enough money. And that's how big the check is going to have to be when, you know, all of these things come out about Aiden Carney completely 100%, in my opinion, maybe being set up. I got to fix something. Something's going on with my lighting here. Let me just give me a sec. And the conspiracy to incarcerate him and the false charges. And when those things ever get impounded, and they will eventually, unless the charges are dropped, in which case they might not. That's how big of a check they're going to have to write for the violation of Aiden Carney's civil rights as a citizen and a journalist. All right. Back to the document, the papers. I didn't slander you, but if I did, everything I said was true. You're doing better. Your numbers are up. Libel, same thing. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Here's the other thing. She's countersuing him for her emotional distress, which is another piece of bad advice. The advice that she's getting is not bad enough. We've been over this as well. Again, in the lawsuit involving the O'Keefes versus Karen Reed. and the niece. And I said, I don't like it. I don't like that they're putting in a cause of action for the niece's infliction of emotional distress, because when you do that, you put your entire life's mental health history at issue. It's all discoverable, and you can be questioned about all of it, and all the records are coming in, and every shrink you ever saw, every therapist, every social worker, every guidance counselor you ever saw for anything in your entire life is now fair game. And by doing that, she has put her entire life's psychiatric history at issue, and it's all discoverable. And that was really bad advice. I don't know what her psychiatric history is. But I do know now that you're trying to sue Tully and Cosgrove and Jason Broyles and this other detective, they're all going to do everything they can to make you look crazy. So sometimes it falls into the category of you better want what you wish for. And I don't know. I don't think you would wish for this. But again, you're following someone's decision and someone's advice, and it's not good advice. Count 3 for Aiden's intentional infliction of emotional distress. She says, my conduct was neither intentional to cause distress nor extreme and outrageous. It was responsive to the plaintiff's own extreme actions, including alleged SA, threats, harassment, and public defamation of the defendant. Gaetani's public statements were also made due to the negligence per se of state officials who disclosed the rape report in violation of law and their duty to Gaetani, and because those officials failed to take action on her report, despite informing Gaetani that the investigation was and remains open. That's where we left off, and that's not where I went off on my side quest about what happened that night. And if they had any evidence, they absolutely 100%, in my opinion, would have pursued it. It would not still be open now as something they were holding back in their pocket. For some reason, they did not find her to be a credible witness. They did not want to put her in front of a grand jury. And with those recordings and the fake sonogram, maybe, and all of those other things, it did not give her the credibility to take it to a grand jury, maybe, in my opinion. She says, indeed, on the same night, January 7th of 2025, that the restraining order held by Gaetani was not renewed, Kearney went on a social media live show and brought up the SA allegations in question prior to Gaetani discussing the SA in public. Kearney joked with other members of the social media show about the quality of the relations. I'll just say relations instead of sex. With Gaetani during the essay. At another point in time during a public broadcast, Kearney also joked gleefully about, hey, yeah, okay, well, I thought I crossed that off. Refused to give him road blank on the night of the essay and attempted to flee Kearney's vehicle during that portion of the essay. And she says that him asking me for the injunction, or him asking the court for an injunction saying that I can't tweet about him, is an unconstitutional prior restraint on speech. That kind of reminds me of how Jennifer McCabe said to, I don't remember who, Proctor, Tully, can you make Aiden Carney stop blogging about me? Marcy, I don't remember. Yep, Kate, you're picking up what I'm laying down. This is not a smart move by Lindsey, in my opinion, says Kate. Here's her affirmative defenses. Failure to state a claim, truth/substantial truth, opinion/rhetorical hyperbole. I don't really think calling someone a grapist is hyperbolic. That's an actual accusation, statement of fact, depending on who you are. Fair comment report, actual malice not proven. She says if the plaintiff is a public figure or limited purpose public figure, as a blogger and public commentator who willfully inserts himself into high profile cases like the Karen Reed and John O'Keefe matter, he cannot prove actual malice. Furthermore, if Kearney asserts his Turtleboy public persona is merely a character that he is playing for purposes of a defense to Gaetani's countercomplaint, then any statements by Gaetani about such a character are per se not libelous or defamatory. as characters being played by an actor cannot be defamed or libeled. Notwithstanding the veracity of the statements in question, which Gaetani asserts were true, protected opinion, or hyperbole. Her next affirmative defense is privilege. Unclean hands, saying, you were mean, so I was mean too. And so therefore, you can't hold it against me, because he comes into this with unclean hands. This is like taking me back to Torts 101, year 1 of law school. And that's what it reads like. No damage. The plaintiff has suffered no actual damages. Statute of limitations, First Amendment. Alternative causation for damages. And here's where it gets interesting. Any alleged losses or harms suffered by Plaintiff Kearney, including reputational or economic damage, were caused not by Gaetani's statements, but by Kearney's own actions, including his open felony cases, e.g., for example, indictments for witness intimidation and wiretapping. Norfolk Superior Court, here's the indictment numbers. His sexually charged comments on his media platforms, his hostile and unprofessional treatment of viewers during live streams, his harassment campaigns targeting the family of John O'Keefe and others, and his general conduct that has alienated some potential audiences and stakeholders. Oh, they have stakeholders? Is Turtleboy a public corporation? Are there other? I mean, I can make jokes, but part of me just can't even believe this is real. The defendant reserves the right to assert additional defenses as discovery proceeds. Counterclaim. Pursuant to Rule 13, the Massachusetts Rules of Civil Procedure, defendant/counterclaim plaintiff Lindsey Gaetani asserts the following counterclaims against plaintiff/counterclaim defendant Aiden Carney and additional counter defendants, because again, she's just magically willing them into being. Medfield Police Detective Dylan Haldeman, Massachusetts State Lieutenant Brian Tully, Norfolk District Attorney's Office Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove, and Jason Broyles, collectively with Kearney, the counter defendants. Jurisdiction and venue are proper in this court as these claims arise from the same transaction or occurrence as the original complaint. This court has personal jurisdiction over Broyles. So that's another thing. This takes me back again to the year 1 of law school. When you are suing somebody who does not reside in the state, you need to establish that you have a reason to be able to sue them in your state. It's called long-arm jurisdiction. There are several ways that you can try and get long-arm jurisdiction, usually over a corporation, but it is very difficult to get a private citizen from another state to have to come into state court in Massachusetts to defend themselves. But boy, is she going to try. And boy, did Grant pull out his law books on this one. This court has personal jurisdiction over Broyles, a resident of Connecticut, pursuant to Massachusetts General Law 223A, Section 3A, transacting business in the Commonwealth by regularly traveling to Massachusetts to attend court hearings related to Kearney's cases and directing online activities and posts at Massachusetts residents and audiences. Well, I mean, if this is true, then every single person who has ever said something nasty on Twitter about me or you can be sued in Massachusetts. And then there's a whole lot of legalese in here that it tries to be convincing, but it's just not. Such jurisdiction comports with due process under the U.S. Constitution, as Broyles has purposely availed himself of the privilege of conducting activities in Massachusetts. For example, attending Massachusetts court proceedings and targeting Massachusetts-based legal matters and audiences via social media. Creating minimum contacts with the forum such that he could reasonably anticipate being hauled into court here for harms arising from those activities. And then she, Lindsey Gaetani, I guess, cites Ticketmaster New York versus Aliotto, a case from the First Circuit in 1994, upholding jurisdiction over out-of-state defendant for defamation directed at Massachusetts by a statement to Massachusetts newspaper under long arm and Calder effects test. Well, that goes back to 1994. Who knows if he knows how to shepherdize? Do people even shepherdize anymore? Any lawyers in the chat? Or is everything online now? Remember when we had to shepherdize using a real actual book and the pocket parts that were in those books? They're gonna haul you all in. And so he tries to twist himself, or she tries to twist herself into a pretzel, naming all the reasons why this Connecticut resident should be hauled into court in Massachusetts as a counter defendant that is not even sued properly. But again, here we go. And then she says that the governmental counter defendants, Haldeman, Tully, and Cosgrove, are liable under the Massachusetts Tort Claims Act, Section 258. And that presentment letters were sent on September 5th, 2025 to the town of Medfield for Haldeman, the Massachusetts State Police for Tully, and the Norfolk County DA's office for Cosgrove in compliance with Massachusetts General Law 258. Alternatively, any further presentment required is waived or excused due to ongoing violations. Oh, really? You're just gonna tell the court that your procedural violations should just be excused because you said so? Ipsy Dixit, because I said so. And check this out, because you guys have the best screen names on the internet, on the tubes of you. Melanie's Torts 101 teacher coming in with a hot 10. Let's sue LG for putting us through this nonsense. Thank you. Oh, hi, Trauma ICURN. Thank you for your 50. You're super generous, and I love you. I've missed you and our shared personality and sense of humor. You, girl. I love you, girl. I think we may be related. I think we might be. We could be separated at birth. Sisters from another mister and all those things. Miss you too. Stays. Joy says, I was a victim as a teenager of rape. This much I can tell you. I never wanted to see that person again. It was a stranger. All we wanted was for him to go to prison. This is stupid. Thank you. Thank you, Joy. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I hope that did happen, that person went to jail for a long time, prison. And that is the thing also. If she's alleging that he did rape her in October, why is she then inviting him to her house? And in fact, insisting that he come there to talk about this fake grand jury subpoena. And boy, could there be some criminal action there if somebody drafted a fake subpoena to entrap Aiden Carney? I'm sorry, Joy, but thank you so much for your super chat. Can I play the Microdots 128 preview? I cannot, because there is music attached to it and I will get stricken. YouTube does not like, they're very serious about music rights. That's what I love about Instagram, because I can put everything to music on Instagram because they allow it there. They do not allow it on the tubes of you, but I'll link it in the description later so you can all go watch it on your own. Thank you very much. We love Microdots. Shout out to Richie. Under Your Scars became a new member. Welcome. Cosgrove's reverse mortgage. See what I mean? See what I mean? Coming in with a 5. Cupcakes, gummies before bed, and changing your handle do not mix. I've done this so you don't have to. Thank you. Taking one for the team out there, Cosgrove's reverse mortgage. She wouldn't let him leave. That's right. Melanie's torts teacher. You know it. The more you know. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you very much for your super chat. JB Guthrie says, FYI, Irina was stabbed on the train. I live in Charlotte. Yes, I know. I watched the video. It was very disturbing. I think the video that I watched on the New York Post did not show the actual stabbing. It shows him pulling out the pocket knife, unfolding it, and it stopped right before the actual stabbing. But then he goes over and he's waiting to get out of the door with the knife in his hand. He was paranoid schizophrenic. His own mother said he should not have been out. He had something like 14 prior arrests, and I could be conflating. I could be conflating my cases, but I think he had 14 prior arrests, and it's horrific. And yes, it was like what they call a light rail train in Charlotte, right? To me, the pictures looked like a New York City bus, and I would, it's not a subway car, so I guess they call it the light rail train. It's horrific. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. We have so many things to talk about tomorrow. Jamie Lynn says, sorry, I can't remember who she is to Turtleboy. Oh, thank you, Jamie Lynn. I would say a booty call. a booty call. So Lindsey Gaetani was like a booty call. Apparently they never shared a meal of food together, so they never really like went on a date. But you know, when they met, apparently there's pictures of her in like all kinds of free Karen Reed gear. And I want to say that she was like a booty call, right? I mean, was it anything more than that? And then she flipped out. Well, then she told him that she was pregnant, and then she flipped out, and then I don't know. He tried to break up with her. Hell hath no fury, Jamie Lynn. Hell hath no fury. And you know, sometimes it takes a little while for the crazy to come out, but the crazy always comes out. And as I say to you guys, every stream, not every stream, but now and then, it's the bitches that'll get you. I'm just saying. That's what they say. Some people, anyway. But she was like a booty call, and then she told him she was pregnant, and then the metadata from the sonogram was apparently from a long time before they ever met. And also, maybe, allegedly, according to Frankie, it might not have been the first time. But again, in my opinion, I'm not sure if I heard that somewhere, maybe. If Lindsey, if you're here, you can let me know. If you ever told anybody else that you were pregnant with that sonogram, you could let me know. Lindsey, if you're in here, feel free to, correct the record, because this is all just, I'm going on memory now. Clinton says, have you heard rumors that Cosgrove is holding Karen's iPhone 1 to try and charge her with something? I have heard that rumor. I do not have receipts on it, so I cannot confirm it. And I don't remember where I heard it, and I don't remember if there was any proof of it. But listen, if we know something about the county of Norfolk, is that they are so deep into this that they almost have to keep going, because the alternative will put a lot of people in jail who don't want to go there, in my opinion, maybe as such something. They may lose positions. They may have done some things that are criminal. And I'm not just talking about public officials and law enforcement. There's other people out there too. And so they're so deep into it. The roots of corruption in Norfolk County are so deep and twisted that it has been going on for decades. And there's people in the chat who live there. They know it. They will tell you. But why do they need her actual phone? They don't. They've extracted it to high heaven. They've got everything off of it. Are they waiting to try? They still have it hooked up to Gray Key? Are they hoping that they can get into her signal messages? I don't know. Anything I tell you would just be speculating. So I just don't know. But thank you so much, Clinton, Nix, free super chat, and Sandy for saying free Turtleboy. Thank you so much. We'll get back to the rest of these super chats in a little while. Ms. Holmes coming in with the hot tea. It began and ended as a booty call, maybe 3 to 4 months only. I don't even know if it was that long, but I'm sure he'll go over this later tonight on his show. I don't know what time his show is tonight. Do you? Is it 9 usual, 10? Anyone getting trapped in LG's toxic web better bring back up camera video allowed or not, and tarantula poison. Thank you. Thank you for your opinion, Ms. Holmes. Okay. So I'm going to assume that these letters of presentment are something that is a prerequisite to suing somebody. I don't know, and I don't care enough to look it up. But for example, in New York, when you sue a municipality, you have to file a notice of claim within 90 days of your cause of action. Otherwise, you waive it, and that gives them notice that they're going to be sued. And then you can sue them only after you serve with a notice of claim. It may be something such as like that. I don't really know. But apparently, whoever gave her this advice thinks that that's sufficient. And then just mention that you're countersuing them without really impleading them. And it's, I don't know. It's bizarre. And here she goes on to say why she's got all kinds of jurisdiction here. The detective, Dylan Haldeman, is a detective with the Medfield Police Department, located in Medfield, and he's acted under the color of law at all relevant times. Well, then that gives him immunity. Unless it's like so egregious or criminal that you can get around the immunity. But in my opinion, what I'm reading here, you just can't. Lieutenant Brian Tully is a lieutenant with the MSP assigned to Norfolk County DA's office and acted under color of law at all relevant times. I'm seeing a fracture in the relationship between Lindsey Gaetani and Brian Tully, which means to me, she may be rolling over on Tully, which is good for Aiden. If Aiden and Brian Tully are now co-defendants, they both have a common goal to discredit Lindsey Gaetani. And so many other things. Now their mission is going to be to prove that she's not credible and that she's crazy. Why would you want to bring this upon yourself willingly? Why? I don't understand. Why? Additional counter-defendant Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove is a special prosecutor with the Norfolk DA's office and acted under color of law at all relevant times. Well, now, I mean, according to Lindsey Gaetani's wish list, if Cosgrove is a co-defendant with Aiden Carney, in this case, he can't prosecute Aiden Carney. It's called a conflict. So Betterow is still sitting at his typewriter, furiously typing up the mega motion. A couple of things are going to need to be added to it. Mello has already been disqualified in one of the cases of Aiden's. And because he made himself a witness by those text messages that I told you about, that they've got proof of, that he was colluding or in contact with Lindsey Gaetani during the time of the events of which, some of which Aiden is charged. And now he's going to have to move to disqualify Robert Cosgrove because he got a conflict. Who's next? Who are they going to hire to specially prosecute Aiden Carney next? We know there's no speedy trial statute in Massachusetts, so how much longer is this going to go on? How long has this been going on? And how much longer is it going to be going on? Mellow yellow, yeah. I don't know, SSS, if you're missing sound from the stream, sometimes if you go out of chat and come back in, or just like close out and come back in. YouTube has been very, very wonky lately. It's unsubscribing people. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've hit the like button because, you know, I'm here for the people. I'm here for you. Even as much as I don't want to do this tonight, I'm here doing this tonight for you. I'm taking one for the team and I'm doing the Lord's work. And yeah, we only have like 30. We only have like 1/3 the amount of likes of people that are watching. So, I mean, there's over almost 6,300 of you here. So let's take a moment, shall we, to hit the like button because it's free. Even if you're hate watching, hit the dislike button. I don't care. It's engagement, right? All right, moving on. Additional counter-defendant Jason Broyles is a resident of Bristol, Connecticut, who regularly travels to Massachusetts to attend court hearings related to Kearney's criminal cases and direct social media posts about Massachusetts-based legal matters at audiences in Massachusetts. And here are the facts common to all cases. On October 14th, 2023, Kearney essayed Gaetani. The assault began at Mick Morgan's bar in Norwood, where Kearney engaged in non-consensual S-type contact in a public area. Again, I don't know all the details. I wasn't there. There's text messages between them afterwards. There may be some video of some of this stuff. You can go to him for the details and you can listen to this for her details. But I don't, I wasn't there, so I can't tell you everything. But all I can say is maybe don't go to Mick Morgan's bar in Norwood because nothing good happens there. And also, I wonder if they have surveillance video there. While driving Gaetani from the bar to her home in Medfield, Kearney attempted to elicit Gaetani to perform oral on him. Gaetani fled Kearney's vehicle on an active roadway to avoid doing so, whereupon two passerbys intervened and attempted to rescue her. Kearney then prevented those two passing motorists from assisting Gaetani, forcing Gaetani back into his car, and then transported her to her apartment, where he engaged in further non-consensual intercourse while Gaetani was impaired and unable to consent. Kearney recorded the encounter without Gaetani's knowledge or consent at the time. Kearney's actions during the drive, preventing rescue and forcing Gaetani back into the vehicle, constituted false imprisonment, as Gaetani was confined against her will without legal justification, causing her fear, humiliation, and physical restraint. As a direct result of this additional incident, Gaetani has incurred further medical expenses. For example, therapy for trauma, suffered increased reputational damage. I'm just going to leave that one out there. For example, fear of public disclosure, endured heightened pain and suffering, flashbacks and anxiety, and incurred legal expenses. Well, you're representing yourself. And then there was a GoFundMe. So I guess you're going to have to hire a lawyer after this because it's going to get ugly after this. And you're going to be papered to death with motions and you're going to need a lawyer. That's all I could say. Let's try and keep the chat on the cleaner side if we could. Thank you. Thanks. I love you all. Love you so much. I'm trying to, do my best to keep it on the clean side. On December 14th of 2023, during an interview with Lieutenant Brian Tully and a private investigator, Nelson DeGouveia. Exactly. Can't lose credibility when you had none, girl, says someone in the chat. Regarding Gaetani's knowledge of Kearney and another matter, Gaetani first reported the assault. Lieutenant Tully urged her to file an official report, but Gaetani declined out of fear of retaliation. Well, what was the other matter that Tully and this investigator were talking to her about on December 14th? Does anybody know? Justice for Clay. So she's saying that she reported the assault to Tully and this other private investigator December 14th, which was before she was served with that fake subpoena for the grand jury on December 22nd. Oh, and then it says on December 22nd, Lieutenant Tully urged her to file an official report, but Gaetani declined out of fear of retaliation. Oops, I lost my papers. Hold on. Where's the papers? The papers just went flying away. Okay. And look at this little spinny wheel. Can you see this little spinny wheel? Why do I get that little spinny wheel of hell? It's like the spinny wheel of death. Do I need to close some tabs? I don't know. On December 22nd, 2023, Lieutenant Tully and the investigator served Gaetani with a grand jury subpoena unannounced. Oh, where's my bullshit button? Here you go. Do you think that it was unannounced or do you think that it was planned? And for this, we must go to the grand jury subpoena attached as Exhibit 7. But before I do that, let me close this out because flipping through this will make you dizzy. I promise you. Again, the little spinny wheel of death. I got to close some tabs here, maybe. Okay, there we go. Let's see where this is in the 91 pages. It's Exhibit D. Okay, here it is. Here's the fake grand jury subpoena. And this could be a problem for whoever drafted this. In order to prosecute someone or the witness intimidation statute, the person that you are intimidating has to be a witness to something. So it is hypothesized that by serving Lindsey with this grand jury subpoena, it then gave her witness status. Okay, I redacted her address. Here it is, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, summons to Lindsey Gaetani. And it says, you are hereby summoned in the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to appear before the grand jury for the County of Norfolk, 649 High Street, second floor, Dedham, on December 27th of 2023 at 9 a.m. She's saying Tully and this private investigator showed up at her house on the 22nd. serve her with this subpoena to show up to testify in front of a grand jury December 27th, 2023. Here's the problem. There was no grand jury. There was no grand jury convened. The grand jury for whatever other charges he had already been concluded. And the grand jury that would convene for the charges of whatever happened on this night, the charges had not even happened yet. So there was no grand jury on December 27th, 2023 at 9 a.m. This was served on her to get him to come over, to get him to do something that they could use to revoke his bail and put him in jail. And it worked. It worked. Because all she had to do was say he assaulted me. Right? And from day to day thereafter, until the action, until the action herein is something by said court to give evidence of what you know relating to the case of, and then it just says, in re, the investigation into Canton witness intimidation. I guess it was, you know, I wonder if it's a scratch and sniff. If they just took the grand jury summons from the prior case and they just changed the date. And just decided to go with it. But now it's an exhibit. Now it's a public exhibit. Now we can see it. Now we can see that it's fake. We have the receipts. We've got the papers. And it's a big effing problem. I think Canton is spelled right. I just think it's so blurry that you can't read it. I'm sure it's a scratch and sniff. You know who does that a lot? Or you know who's done it before? Not so confidential informant Kate Peter took a federal lawsuit involving copyright infringement and scratch and sniffed it and sent it to YouTube in order to strike Aiden Carney's channel. But what she didn't do was change the index number, which was a 2013 index number. So there are some people out there involved in this case, I'm not saying she did it, who know how to do it. But Lindsey is telling us that Tully and this other guy, Nelson Gouveia, are the ones that served it on her. Who drafted it? Who knew that it was fake? Who knew that this was a fraudulent document, that this wasn't really real? And then it says witness Michael Ricciuti, Esquire at Dedham, December 27th, 2023. Can't wait for him to get up on the stand. Place grand jury, High Street, December 27th, 20. Do you really think that 2 days after Christmas, the grand jury is convened? Court's pretty much shut down. Definitely shut down between Christmas and New Year's. You can file stuff, but then all the judges are not doing anything. You really think the grand jury? No, it wasn't. One grand jury had ended, and the other one that would be convened, the offenses had not even been committed yet. So you can't make this up. You just can't. And then it says 9 a.m. show up. Here's the number. And then it says any correspondence should be sent to Gregory P. Connor. How pissed do you think he is? He's like the top dog at the Norfolk DA's office. He's like the guy. He's the head MF in charge. He's like their top dog, their top trial guy. He's the guy who should have re-persecuted Karen Reed. But I bet you that he said, hell no. Are you kidding me? I'm not ruining my reputation. How pissed is he right now that they used him, that they dragged him into this? Now he's a witness. XOXO, Michael Marcy, district attorney. There it is. This is a receipt. I mean, how much farther do we need to go here? I want to look at some of the emails that Tully wrote to her, and she's really mad that Tully ghosted her and didn't respond to her emails. And that's why he's now an alleged counter. There's no such thing as a counter defense. I can't. You can't be a counter defendant if you're not a defendant or a third party defendant. Look at the year on the appearance, 2020. Oh yeah, 22223. Where does it say that? Wait. Oh, look at that. December 27th. 22223. Is that what that says? That's what you call a really bad scratch and sniff job. Wow. Yeah, the lawyer witnessed the document the same day. There's so much wrong with this. Not least of which is that, it could be a crime to be falsifying documents like this. And it could also be a crime to, actively collude to incarcerate someone. I mean, you have to laugh or your head is going to explode and it's going to be rolling. My head is already, it's on the Long Island Sound. It's on the ferry. It's on the way to Connecticut. If somebody could please find it for me and return it, that'd be great. My head's popped off. It's too late. Back to the papers. Oh, then she's going to say she tried to break up with him. Okay. Where are we? Oh, I'm just going to drag Grant into it. Or Grant is inserting himself into this complaint. That was what, footnote 7? Back to the papers. On December 22nd, 2023, Kearney was invited to Gaetani's home. Invited. She was like, "You better come here or else I'm going to take the abortion pills and have an abortion in your driveway." Maybe, or something like that. It says on tape somewhere. Kearney was invited to Gaetani's home after Gaetani received that grand jury subpoena related to Kearney and Karen Reed. Kearney declined that invitation. The grand jury. So she's saying, wow. She's saying that subpoena was related to Kearney and Karen Reed. No, they didn't convene that grand jury until 2024. As far as I know, that's when they refused to return a true bill. It was in I think March of 2024. Kearney declined that invitation. During that day and into the morning of December 23rd of 2023, Kearney began a series of harassing communications towards Gaetani. Oh, so she's saying she invited him on the 22nd. He didn't come. He said no. He declined her kind invitation. RSVP, no. Kearney sent Gaetani highly sensitive judicial documents and made other implied threats until Gaetani provided information to Kearney. Then Kearney told Gaetani he would visit her the next day, December 23rd. On the morning of December 23rd, Kearney asked Gaetani to install the Signal Messenger application, an app that Gaetani understands is used for the purposes of encrypted communication. Kearney, after those series of messages and attempts at coercive control, appeared at Gaetani's home, demanded to see her phone, threatened retaliation if she testified before the grand jury or refused to comply with Kearney's demands, took notes from her phone, wrestled her for the notes, and pushed her onto a couch. During this exchange, Kearney told Gaetani that she could legally delete all information on her phone because no preservation order had yet been served by prosecutors on Gaetani. When Gaetani asked Kearney what she should do at the grand jury if asked about the deleted information, Kearney told Gaetani to say that she did not remember when asked those questions. All kinds of hearsay in here. Kearney then offered Gaetani a lawyer and said he would be willing to pay for it to help Gaetani. However, in the same breath, Kearney informed Gaetani that he could not trust her any longer, as she had spoken to the police. And in turn, Gaetani would only be permitted to meet with that lawyer with Kearney present. Gaetani declined all of these offers from Kearney. On December 24th, 2023, Christmas Eve, Gaetani reported assault and battery and witness intimidation to Lieutenant Brian Tully. Well, of course, she called Tully directly because she had his digits. And witness intimidation because Tully made her a witness by serving her with a subpoena. You see what you're picking up on? I'm laying down here. Tully then called Medfield police. Medfield police then called Gaetani and informed her they would be visiting her apartment. At that point, the Medfield police took a police report. She left a lot of stuff out, but that's okay. If you know, you know. If you don't, maybe you don't want to know. A BOLO was issued for Kearney, and an emergency restraining order was sought by Gaetani and granted on Gaetani's behalf against Kearney. On December 26th, Kearney turned himself in and was sentenced to 90 days in jail due to a sustained finding of Kearney violating his existing bail conditions on the December 2023 felony charges. On January 8th, 2024, the original restraining order issued December 24th, 2023 was extended for a further term of 1 year. That is why, my friends, that is why the O'Keeffes brought her to court in February. I think it was like within days of Aiden being released from jail. He went to the Karen Reed hearing, and because there was a restraining order and Lindsey Gaetani was the one holding the papers, they invited her to court. We watched the trial on that, and Aiden won that trial. It was a bench trial. Again, with the spinny wheel of death. I don't know, am I running out of memory from downloading all of these multi-page documents that I now have to like scrub my computer? Gaetani testified before the grand jury on February 1 and February 22, 2024. For what? For her charges, for the charges of the alleged incident that happened on December 23rd. On February 23rd, Kearney was released after 60 days instead of his initial 90-day term due to statutory limitations and indicted for witness intimidation and illegal interception of oral communications. He taped her and he told her he was taping her. And then also, maybe, Mafia Masshole, aka K. Peter, aka not so confidential informant, may or may not have altered that recording to take out the part where he says, "I'm recording you." And Jody 617 says those charges were also dropped 2 days after he got out because they were BS. Debbie Cho says, I feel like you've taken the virginity of your computer with this filing. I know. I'm going to have to get the sage out. I'm going to have to like scrub it with bleach. It's terrible. Oh, in February of 2024, Kearney violated the restraining order and was charged accordingly, right? That's the day that they brought, the O'Keeffes brought him to court, brought her to court, brought Lindsey to court, and he was there. So he got up and left. The whole thing was bogus. If you haven't watched that trial, go back and watch it. We did commentary on it. We watched most of it, not every single witness, but you can find it in the playlist that is linked below in the show notes for your convenience, where it says catch up on Aiden's case here. Hang on. You guys are awesome. Somebody said even your computer can't stand her. Haha, that was Kelly. And then KBD says, I have a spray bottle of holy water waiting to spray my iPad. I know. I'm going to clean my eyes out with bleach after this. Yeah, thank you, Debbie Davis. Sunday night, The Glare did a 12-hour stream. And everybody was on there at one point during those 12 hours. And you guys raised over $21,000 for Aiden's defense fund. So praise be. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay. Around February 28th of 2024, Gaetani was summoned to Medfield police regarding a false accusation by Kearney that Gaetani wiretapped him by recording sex without consent via home security cameras. During the interview, police demanded to view. Oh, wait, stop. No. Yeah, I mean, I knew this was coming, but I forgot. During the interview, police demanded to view all intimate photos and video on her phone of Gaetani and Kearney, which she provided under duress. Well, just looking for nudes. Just looking for nudes. They demand to see it. And she had it. She had it. Apparently she had it. But she provided it under duress. She could have walked out. Are you trying to make your sex tape more marketable? Like a Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian type move here? Hold on. In explaining examples of Kearney's own secret recordings, Gaetani described the October 14th, 2023 assault, along with 2 other occasions on which Kearney had recorded Gaetani during a S act. Gaetani mentioned that the recording from October 14th, 2023 stood out due to the events of that night. Okay, so there's a recording of it. There's a recording of the grape? Okay. Well, I guess they looked at it and they were like, yeah, no, that ain't grape. Because they never charged him. I don't know. I'm just surmising. Gaetani then described the events of the night of October 14th, 2023 to the Medfield police officers. And she said she already reported it to Tully and that Nelson Gouveia. Gaetani then described the events of the night of October to Medfield. At that point, the police paused the interview and informed Gaetani that what she had just described was an essay. Gaetani begged them not to pursue charges at that time due to fear of retaliation, including Kearney's threats to release intimate videos. Prior to Massachusetts' revenge porn law, I'm going to say corn instead, revenge corn law, although that law does apply ex post facto, Latin lesson of the day, for civil claims, Gaetani was never charged with wiretapping. Didn't they also, I seem to remember some photographs a long, long time ago, didn't they also parade her around to like the state house to like testify in front of Congress or something about this revenge corn law? Didn't they make her the poster child of that? I seem to remember like some photos floating around. Right? Yes, they did. It says tall glass. Nothing good happens with booty calls, says Kokomo, Indiana. She jumped into an interview, says Melanie's tour teacher. Oh, Melisa says she saw an empty mic stand and went up and started talking. And Normal Mom in Shock and Horror says she ran up to an open mic uninvited. Adam Lely's resignation confirming she just showed up and walked up to the microphone uninvited. She inserted herself at the podium, says Harry's girl. Courtney says, no, she jumped in on a press conference. She inserted herself. Wow. Wow. Scott McGinnis says, in his opinion, Lindsey Gaetani would be of zero public interest if she was not used as a honeypot trap. Well, you can make your own opinions on that. In the following days or weeks, Gaetani informed her victim advocate and Medfield police, she also got a victim advocate, that she had changed her mind and wished to cooperate with the criminal process against Kearney for the SA. Gaetani also provided video and text message evidence to the Medfield police. The police confirmed receipt of that evidence and Gaetani's desire to pursue charges, but provided no updates. That's part of why she's doing this. She's mad that they ghosted her. They stopped responding to her. Tully blew her off. They didn't need her anymore. They used her. They totally used her. And when they didn't need her anymore, they threw her to the curb, in my opinion. And she's mad about it. So she's going to try and sue him. Too bad they have immunity. On April 13th, 2024, Kearney publicly announced on YouTube that Medfield police were investigating him for grape, calling it a lie. This was the first public mention of the allegations initiated by Kearney himself. On August 8th, 2024, an individual using the alias Haley Walbrecht, later revealed as Jason Broyles, acting on Kearney's behalf, posted Gaetani Files Part 3 online, including an unredacted, confidential police report of a Gaetani's assault allegation. Footnote 9. Can anybody tell me, I know you're in the chat, Suze, and I know you know, like, you have a photographic memory. When did Jason Broyles reveal himself or become outed as being the Haley Walbrecht account? Do we have a month and year on that? Because I was trolled relentlessly as I was being accused of being the Haley Walbrecht account. Relentlessly. Doxed. Threatening my children. That's all I'm going to say. When, and those people are still out there and they can do it to you too. Be careful out there. Do, 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 do. It was during the trial, says Crime Zombie. Sue says it would have been around September, October 2024, after the first trial. Yeah, no, they did that to me. And those people are still out there. And they think it's funny. They thought it was me. They thought it was me. You guys know. You guys who play on the cesspool know. When I came to Dedham to go to the trial, I came with security. Like, it was bad. Yeah, there's a lot of sickos out there. A lot of them sitting on their couches and wherever, wiping Cheeto dust off their pants. So I don't remember when Jason Broyles actually admitted to being the Haley Walbrecht account, but so much damage was done because it wasn't just me that was accused of being this account and threatened with calling for people to try and get me disbarred. Grant Smith Ellis did that. Jennifer Coffendoffer was in on it. A couple of other accounts that are still out there. A couple of besties of Jen McCabe that are still out there. It was disgusting. And so I'm not hating on Cheetos. Oh, that's right. Sorry. No offense to Cheetos, by the way. I want to know when he finally came out and admitted that it was him, or if he was outed, because he was pretending to be a woman. And then he came out and he said he was like a victim advocate and his life's work is like working for victims. But the damage that was done to the people that were stalked and being accused of being this horrific account that was releasing all of this private information about Lindsey Gaetani was horrifying. Oh, Olivia says October 12th of 24. Thanks, Olivia. So it was in October. So when he was posting this stuff in August, people were still thinking it was me, right? Yeah. On October 8th, 2024, an individual using the alias Haley Walbrecht, later revealed as Jason Broyles, acting on Kearney's behalf, posted Gaetani Files Part 3 online, including an unredacted confidential police report of Gaetani's assault allegation. The Gaetani Files was a multi-part blog series created by Broyles for the purpose of targeting Gaetani on behalf of Kearney. The post was explicit and graphic in nature and contained lies about Gaetani, mischaracterized the events, and falsely claimed police concluded no grape occurred. This was the first time that Gaetani had been exposed to the details of her own grape report. On or about 2024, doesn't say when, and prior to releasing the unredacted essay report, on or about August 8th, 2024, Jason Broyles posted a series of blogs and videos entitled The Gaetani Files Part 1 and The Gaetani Files Part 2 on his platform, which targets Massachusetts audiences and aligns with the objectives of Kearney's Turtleboy Daily News and YouTube channel as to targeting Gaetani with false and defamatory statements that in turn incited Broyles and Kearney's audiences to engage in a large-scale harassment campaigns against Gaetani. These blogs and other public statements by Broyles contain numerous false statements about Gaetani, including but not limited to accusations of fraud, false statements about Gaetani being a fake victim of DV, fabricating her essay allegations, and engaging in criminal or immoral conduct, all of which were made with knowledge of their falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. Broyles' Gaetani Files posts included a massive campaign of public harassment against Gaetani, with his audience and Carney's followers engaging in online and real-world attacks, including threats, derogatory comments, and public shaming to the benefit of Carney's efforts to discredit Gaetani as a victim and witness in his criminal cases. As a direct result of Broyles' actions, Gaetani suffered severe emotional distress, further reputational damage, loss of credibility in her community, with law enforcement and with the courts, medical expenses, increased therapy costs, pain and suffering, and legal expenses to counteract the harassment. On August 10th, 2024, Kearney admitted on YouTube that he provided the report to Haley for posting. I don't know if that's true. Can anybody confirm that? I don't know. Tully will have immunity unless he did something criminal. But in this civil case, because he ignored her emails, he has immunity. That's not actionable. She's not alleging any criminal activity by him. She's saying that he just ignored her emails. The unredacted grape report was then posted with malice and in a manner designed to humiliate Gaetani. Several comments by Broyles and others on those social media posts included language calling her all kinds of horrible things, and I'm not going to repeat them here. If you want to, I can leave you a link to this complaint, and you can read the entire 91 pages by your damn self. On November 12th, 2024, Gaetani emailed Tully reporting further harassment and inquiring about the lack of charges or updates on the assault investigation. There was no response from Tully. We're going to go through those emails because that's one of the most interesting parts of this. On November 15th, she emailed Tully again. She keeps emailing him. There was one night she emails him like every 7 minutes, forwarding screenshots, and then she goes on, and then from this woman, and then this Machete woman. I don't know who Christina Machete is, but Machete has not been heard from since. And Medfield police informed Gaetani all future reports from Gaetani regarding Kearney were to be directed to Tully. At that point, Gaetani expressed to Tully fear for her safety due to escalating harassment. No response was provided by Tully. Again, emailing Tully November 27th, including threats from Broyles. Don't make me accelerate. It's not going to be good for you. I guess this was after he revealed his true self, because Olivia says it was October 14th, 2024. And a YouTube video where Kearney threatened to sue anyone calling him a rapist, depose them, and use it against him in criminal cases. And again, she keeps telling Tully, she's ramping up now, that she's scared for her life. And again, she's emailing him multiple times, and no response was ever provided. On January 7th, 2025, the renewal of the restraining order was denied. That night, January 7th, 2025, on YouTube, Kearney falsely claimed that Gaetani's legal fundraisers were fraudulent and that she only paid her lawyers $1,500 of $8,000 charged. So now she wants to defend herself publicly on this point. In fact, Gaetani paid the lawyers in question $6,500 from an $8,000 retainer and was refunded $1,500 for the balance owed to her. Ms. Gaetani then retained a second lawyer related to a series of Rule 14 and Rule 17 requests from Mr. Kearney's lawyers in the context of his going criminal cases in Norfolk Superior Court. Ms. Gaetani is the named victim in 2 of those open felony cases and a named witness / other interested party in 10 of Kearney's other open felony indictments. Why would she be a witness with regard to anything having to do with Jennifer McCabe, Julie Nagel, or those other people? Brian Albert? I don't think she would. I don't know. And then she goes on and on saying, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Not true, not true. Because he said these things, I wasn't able to raise any more money. Nobody else would donate to me and my legal expenses. And then on January 8th of 2025, Kearney filed this lawsuit. At undated points, Kearney falsely told a Boston Magazine reporter accompanying him to Medfield police that Gaetani illegally recorded him without consent, leading to his bogus wiretapping complaint. Kearney repeated this lie in blogs and YouTube, claiming she hid cameras and shared videos. Untrue. Gaetani repeatedly contacted police about the assault investigation, providing witness names. Police confirmed it was active as late as January of 2025, but refused her formal request for the report due to the open investigation. On one visit with Gaetani's friend, Grant Ellis, who was permitted to attend as an emotional support animal, it just says as emotional support. Medfield police, he's inserting himself now into this lawsuit and also drafting it. Perhaps, maybe this answer. I don't know. Definitely was not drafted by Lindsey, was it? Medfield police discussed the case. On another occasion, the Medfield police cited insufficient prongs for date grape charges based on a 15-second video clip of Kearney essaying Gaetani. Detective Haldeman later refused additional evidence, for example, babysitter screenshots, witness names, and blamed the DA for improperly releasing the unredacted report to Kearney. Then, in 2025, Medfield police yet again changed course and informed Ms. Gaetani that the grape investigation was still open. Okay, when in 2025? The status of that investigation, to Ms. Gaetani's best knowledge and belief, is still open. As of the date of this filing, September 4th of 2025, really? As on January 13th, 2025, Ms. Gaetani received a voicemail from Medfield Police Detective Dylan Haldeman, wherein Haldeman reached out for the purpose of obtaining more information from Gaetani about the night of the essay. Okay, well, can't wait for them to produce that voicemail. And also, I guess to her best knowledge and belief. And then there's some reference here to Catherine Elton. I guess that's the reporter for Boston Magazine. I was thinking of Gretchen Voss, but I guess not. Free Karen Reed blogger Turtleboy will not go quietly. Boston Magazine. Gaetani only went public to counter Kearney's lies about her as a fake victim after he disclosed the allegation and spread the report out of context cropped texts that contained sexually explicit messages. And all of these things that he did, including the assault, threats, public disclosures, false accusations, harassment campaign, were intentional, extreme, and outrageous, causing Gaetani severe and emotional distress, fear for her safety, and harm to her reputation and privacy. All false statements by Kearney were made with actual malice, knowing their falsity, or with reckless disregard for the truth. The SA investigation based on Gaetani's reports to law enforcement remains active to this day, as confirmed by Medfield police as recently as January 2020. It's 9 months later, babe. Gaetani was denied a copy of her own report due to the open investigation and privacy concerns. I'm pretty sure you're always entitled to a copy of your own report, so I don't know. I don't know. Under Massachusetts general law, reports of rape and sexual assault are confidential and not public records. They must be maintained in a manner assuring confidentiality. And so then she's going to, that's her reason for wanting to bring in Cosgrove. Despite the active investigation and confidentiality requirements, Special Prosecutor Cosgrove improperly released Gaetani's unredacted essay report to Kearney and or his attorneys as part of discovery in ongoing criminal proceedings against Kearney without redaction or protective measure. This release violated Gaetani's privacy and Massachusetts General Law 4197D. Detective Haldeman informed Gaetani that the release was a screw-up by the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. Oh, really? He admitted fault. He blamed the Norfolk DA's office for a screw-up, acknowledging it should not have occurred without redactions, even if the investigation were closed, which it was not. She's going to repeat it a million times, and like Beetlejuice, it'll appear or come true or whatever. Haldeman was involved in the investigation, including interviews, evidence collection, and communications about the report's status, yet failed to prevent or mitigate the improper disclosure. So she's suing him too, allegedly, or trying to. Lieutenant Tully was directly involved in Gaetani's initial report on December 14th of 2023, the subpoena service on December 22nd, 2023, and subsequent grand jury proceedings. Well, if it turns out that Tully lied to the grand jury and made up a whole bunch of bullshit in his testimony, the ramifications for Tully are going to be far worse than anything we've seen with any of the law enforcement ramifications thus far involving anything to do with the Karen Reed case or the Aiden Carney case. Grace is like, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think that's how any of this works. You're right. You're right. Tully ignored Gaetani's multiple emails reporting harassment threats and requests for updates on the assault investigation, breaching duties to protect the victim and maintain confidentiality. Well, that's unfortunately, although you might not like it and maybe it's mean, or, you know, he was tired of you harassing him, it's not actionable. It's just not. Multiple further emails were sent by Gaetani to Tully after November 27th, 2024. Tully's inaction contributed to the ongoing harm and allowed leaks. The counter defendants' actions, releasing the counter defendants, plural, actions, releasing the unredacted report and failing to safeguard confidentiality enabled Kearney to publicly disclose and mischaracterize the report. For example, via Haley on August 8th, 2024, causing Gaetani severe harm. These acts were negligent, reckless, or intentional, violating statutory duties and privacy rights. I mean, something else you need to do when you're drafting a complaint, law students, if you're out there, is it needs to be specific. And one of the problems with this complaint is one of the many this complaint. It's like a whatever this is, this answer, this alleged, cross claim, counterclaims of people that are not actively even in the case. Is it's not specific enough. She's like, this guy did this kind of, this guy did that kind of, and then she kind of lumps them all together as we go through this and says they all did mean things to me, and therefore I'm bringing them all in. But again, not in the proper way, procedurally. As a direct result of the counter defendant's conduct, Gaetani has incurred medical expenses, therapy exceeding $5,000, suffered reputational damage, for example, public ridicule and lost opportunities. Yeah, hang on one second. I have to just do something here. Talk amongst yourselves for 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Steve says they were done with her till he got what he needed. Then it was see ya. Yep, exactly. I'm not sure what lost opportunities she thinks that she missed out on. So there's that. It is crazy town. It's crazy town. Pain and suffering, legal expenses, PTSD, all her entire medical history, her entire psychiatric history is going to come into play here. It's all discoverable. She's opened up a giant can of worms, a giant. And then she goes on to say that he sent her a video on October 15th of the essay from October 14th and caused her all this fear and humiliation and horrible things. And the video was sent during the conversation in which Kearney sent Gaetani text messages confirming that Kearney knew Gaetani was too drunk to have sex on the night of October 14th. In further text messages, Kearney described the acts he committed against Gaetani during the video in question. And then she says, between October and December 2023, after Gaetani attempted to end her relationship with Kearney sent Gaetani a video of himself threatening to commit suicide by throwing himself into traffic because Gaetani would not answer Kearney's text messages or phone calls. This act was intended to manipulate and coerce Gaetani into maintaining contact, causing her severe emotional distress and guilt. Well, trauma ICURN, someone as a fool for a client. She's representing herself here. And then she goes on to talk about all of her fears and therapy costs and flashbacks and panic attacks and more legal expenses. Jason Broyles using the alias Haley Wilbrecht and X handle at HW on your case at first, then the X handle at HW on your case 2 acted as a proxy for Kearney by posting defamatory and privacy invading content about Gaetani on various dates and times during the year 2024. And again, going on about the Gaetani files part 3, alleging that Broyles was posting lies about her, the reasons that he can be sued in Massachusetts, according to her. They were intentional or reckless, made in concert with Aiden Carney, and caused Gaetani severe harm, including emotional distress, reputational damage, and fear of further harassment. Remember, you can sue anybody at any time for any reason. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful. But again, this is not the proper way to do it. There's other hoops you need to jump through before making someone a defendant or a counter defendant. And those hoops have not yet been jumped through, but they should have been jumped through before this was filed. So it's a whole other mishigas. And on and on. Gaetani's reputation has been severely damaged in her community and beyond. Reminds me of Toy Story. And beyond. And this goes on for another God knows how many pages. A whole hell of a lot. So let's go to the causes of action. She's alleging in her countersuit assault and battery against Kearney. Okay, well, whether the fact finder, which would be a jury in this case, she's asking for a trial by jury, whether the fact finder finds assault and battery against Kearney will be something to be determined by the fact finder. But this is in fact pled properly because Aiden Carney is an actual party to this existing lawsuit. So she's alleging assault and battery against Kearney. The contact that they had, the sexual contact at McMorgan's bar. And again, I'm getting this colorful spinning wheel of death. What is happening here? Is it a virus? I don't need any viruses. Why? Stop. The October 14th events, which we've talked about at length. The December 23rd event, where she alleges that he pushed her onto a couch and wrestled her for notes. And that's assault and battery. Then she's countersuing for false imprisonment against Kearney, saying that on December 23rd, when he was at Gaetani's home, while spending hours going through Gaetani's phone while Gaetani was under duress and coercion, and also texting with Mello and Tully while he was there, perhaps colluding. Kearney confined Gaetani against her will by demanding her phone via the use of threats and blackmail. I think she was in the bathroom, right? And she said, don't call me because he's outside the bathroom door and whatever, something such as like that. Threatening retaliation, wrestling her for notes, physically pushing her, and calling that false imprisonment. And then the vehicle incident, which we discussed earlier, against Kearney. Intentional affliction of emotional distress against all the counter defendants. And this is where you really need to plead things specifically, but she just lumps everybody into one paragraph saying that all of them intended to inflict emotional distress or knew or should have known their conduct would cause it, including Kearney's assault and disclosures and the additional counter defendants' improper release and handling of confidential information. Jody 617 charges were dropped. It's already been found not guilty. That was the not guilty was for the. Oh, but she can see even if the assault and battery charges were dropped for that incident, she can still sue civilly. It's a civil action, not a criminal one. So 2 different cases, 2 different. I see what you're saying though, and I think that's what you're saying. And I'm not sure who wrote that Jody 617. And again, everything's buffering and going on and on and on about the intentional infliction of emotional distress that all of these people caused her. Extreme and outrageous conduct, a lot of law school words, a lot of statutory language thrown in here for good measure. And then also against all of them, negligent infliction of emotional distress. Even if you didn't intend to, you also did it negligently and that you knew or should have known that it would have caused me severe distress and so therefore pay me. Specific to broils here in 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs. Some allegations specifically against Kearney, calling her a fake victim, And then defamation, libel, and slander against Kearney and broils for all of the various reasons that we've already been through about her legal fees and the fake victim allegations and the hidden camera allegations and the what she says are lies about her sharing intimate videos, but she did admit that she showed them to law enforcement and that private investigator, the nudes. I don't know. Invasion of privacy against all counter defendants by disclosing private facts about her SA without consent to Kearney in discovery, portraying her in a false light, enabling Kearney's false victim narrative, and intruding upon her seclusion, leaks against her wishes. These acts were unreasonable, highly offensive, and violated confidentiality laws. Therefore, I have all these medical expenses and PTSD and panic attacks and anxiety and going on and on and on and on. Pain and suffering. And it's very repetitive. It goes on and on and on for decades, it seems. Abusive process against Kearney, Cosgrove, Haldeman, and Broyles. Kearney, Cosgrove, Haldeman, and Haldeman initiated or facilitated legal processes. For example, discovery release, wiretapping complaint with ulterior motives. For example, intimidation, enabling public disclosure, and without proper cause or safeguards. These abuses caused Gaetani harm, including emotional distress and legal expenses. Kearney's false statements about Gaetani's legal fees and blah, blah, blah. And the Gaetani files, and then malicious prosecution against Kearney. for the wiretapping complaint, saying there was not probable cause for that and with malice. But here's the thing. It's not Aiden Carney who decides to prosecute. It's the district attorney's office I mean, he doesn't initiate charges on you. He can report you just like you reported him, but it's up to the district attorney's office to bring the charges. The process terminated in Gaetani's favor. No charges were filed. Okay, so well then he didn't file them either. So he made a complaint against you and there were no charges filed. Okay. Happens every day. You've done it a million times probably to lots of other people too. And did they sue you? I don't know. Because you know what? I'm getting bored reading this. Oh, and then violation of the Massachusetts Civil Rights Act against Haldeman, Tully, and Cosgrove, because this is the proper forum for that when you didn't even really sue them. Improper disclosure of confidential information, failure to protect from harassment, all kinds of statutes cited here. Breach of statutory duty and negligence per se against all the defendants, and it goes on and on and on. Unlawful dissemination of visual material against Kearney and Broyles. Again, I'm going to attach this for anybody who wants to read this at length, but I think I've explained to you every which way but loose. Every which way from Sunday. Why this is improper. An improper way to bring these people into it. But go on with your bad self. Legal wiretapping. Somebody put a lot of work into drafting this. Just didn't do it in the right way. Public harassment campaign against Kearney. False light against Kearney. Jury pool tainting against Kearney. Yeah, it's just, and there we go. Okay. And she's demanding a jury trial. Wants contribution from all of them. XOXO, Lindsey Gaetani, pro se, with a P.O. box in Westwood. Here's an affidavit. It says, I am the defendant / counterclaim plaintiff in the above captioned action and make this affidavit based on personal knowledge. And I say, everything in here is true. This is what we call a verification in New York. Well, this is not really a verification because she's just, all right, she's reasserting some of the things here. It's just not, just adding, I don't know, it's giving me a headache is what it's doing. Further affiant saith not. Signature, Lindsey Gaetani. This may be an unsigned copy. She had to sign the original. But I think you can also electronically sign in Massachusetts. I don't know if this was e-filed. I don't know if you can e-file in this particular court. I don't know. And then it also had to be notarized. Was it? I don't know. This is a blank page. And then it says, here's the certificate of service. So here's the way it works. At least in New York, where I've been practicing for more than 3 decades, when you serve when you serve a complaint or a legal proceeding or a legal document on a person, party, a corporation, you must also file an affidavit of service with the court. Of course, my firm, just like most law firms and people that really do this for a living, have process servers. We hire a process server, and every day they come to our office and pick up a stack of papers and a million things to go serve on defendants everywhere. And then they file the affidavit of service with the court that indicates who they served with the papers, what time it was, and when, and a description of what the person looked like, that they were over 18, et cetera, et cetera. That is filed with the court. That is called proof of service. She's filing her own certificate of service here. The rules may be different in Massachusetts. So I, Lindsey Gaetani, hereby certify that on this 5th day of September 2025, a true copy of the foregoing answer and counterclaim was served upon all parties of record via, and then it says, method of service, for example, first class mail, email, or e-filing system as per court rules. And she didn't say which one. She just, they're all in there. She's supposed to pick one. She's supposed to say how she did it. And on the attorney general, why would she serve it on the attorney general? I don't know. This could be a scratch and sniff. And then it says it's signed by her. This would also need to be notarized in most, real courtrooms, not in the kangaroo court. So I have no idea. Here's the other problem. parties of record. The only parties of record in this case right now are Lindsey Gaetani and Aiden Carney. That is it. Those are the only parties of record. I don't know who she served. I don't know how she served it. Because Aiden is represented by counsel, it would be appropriate to just mail it to his attorney and say, I sent it via first-class mail to counsel. But as far as these other alleged defendants go that are not parties of record yet, they would need to be personally served by someone like a process server. But it wasn't done. Yeah, I don't know if this was done with ChatGPT. I don't think so. But typically, you know, in the real courts, you need to have in-person service, and you need to try to serve people during regular business hours when you know when they're going to be home. Sometimes process servers, it takes them a lot of times to actually serve somebody personally or serve someone at the house that can accept service. And the person that they serve has to be over 18. And if you try, I don't know, maybe like 3 times, and you can verify every single time that you tried to serve them and they weren't home. Sometimes in some states you could do nail and mail, where you nail one to the door. It's not really, they don't really nail it to your door, but they, tape it to your door or leave it by your whatever, and then they mail you a copy certified mail. You can do nail and mail after you try and serve a number of times. I'm not a process server. I don't know the rules in Massachusetts. I'm just giving you the basic idea. But it doesn't say how she filed it or how she served it or who she served. So your guess is as good as mine. And then after the 51-page complaint, there's another 40 pages. There's another 40 pages of exhibits. We'll look at the Tully emails in a moment, because that, she kind of ramps up, and that's kind of interesting. Thank you, Gail, for your 10. Says, good job. You're thick-skinned, Melanie, to deal with all the drama, but still able to remain classy. Your expertise shines through. Thank you, Gail. Thank you very much. It's hard. It's not always easy, but, somebody's got to do it. And I'm here for you. Thank you so much. VDOT became a new member. Welcome. I think you're going to like it here. Margaret says, LG has a few bats missing out of her belfry. Thanks, Margaret. Joy says, fake victim was on Twisted Tragedies today. I just went to look because I couldn't take it 1 minute. She was sitting there with crazy eyes. Hope she doesn't sue me. Well, that is a good time to point out that my viewers' opinions are their opinions and not necessarily my opinions. And I would not watch that show, but good on you for trying to tune in. Thanks for your 10. I appreciate you. If you lost sound, try going out and coming back in, because YouTube is acting really wonky. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, let me know. Hello, love you, Melanie. Thank you, James. Thank you for your 5. I appreciate you so. Gen X 1968 gifted a membership. Thank you so much. Per se defamatory, right? Says Kyle. What is? I'm going to I'll look it up for you for per se defamation. I did a whole stream on per se defamation in New York one day. One day when I was being targeted by these people who thought I was Haley. It's very interesting. Oh, and also for when Grant Smith Ellis was accusing me of having an affair with Alan Jackson by going to Cancun together. Remember that? If you accuse a woman of being adulterous, that is per se defamation in New York. Per se defamation, Massachusetts. Come on. Come on. In Massachusetts, per se means like it's presumed as a matter of law. It's defamation per se. Refers to false statements considered so inherently damaging to a person's reputation that they are actionable without proof of actual harm. Such statements are presumed to cause damage, so the plaintiff doesn't need to show specific losses to win their case, which is exactly what I was talking about when she said, well, Aiden Carney became more popular and he got more subscribers and he's making more money now. Doesn't matter. You don't need to prove actual damages if it's defamation per se. Categories often considered defamation per se include false accusations of a serious crime. I would say that grape is a serious crime. A loathsome or contagious disease, matters incompatible with one's business or profession, and historically, unchastity in a woman. Right. So all of those people out there on the Twitterverse, and I've got all the receipts, who accused me of being untruthful and a lawyer and a fake lawyer. It's all defamation per se, even in Massachusetts, because, credibility is part of being a lawyer. Calling someone a grapist is per se defamation. Beautiful messy ball. Did you see or hear about CrimeCon getting punked with rubber ducks and turtles after allegedly screaming? Allegedly screaming what? Yeah, I did see people were posting little rubber ducks around CrimeCon. They were like, hiding them for people to find, and little turtles. I did see that. Thanks, beautiful messy ball, for your 5. FKR 2024. This really complicates the winner of Ratchet Madness. If you know, you know. Thanks for your 10. Just a little technical perjury from Norway. Tuning in. Baker said that we should start a class action lawsuit. I know. I have emotional distress just from reading that. Julia, stabbing case. React to Andrea's sub stacked on it. I was actually thinking about calling or, getting together with Andrea and doing a stream on that, because it's something that we are both very passionate about, mental health in the criminal justice system, and the fact that there's not enough done for people who clearly need to be committed instead of just letting them back out on the street. So that's great. And I am on her email list, so I did get her Substack today. So thank you for that. Cosgrove's reverse mortgage says a booty call gone horribly wrong. Thank you. Live, Love, Laugh became a new member. Welcome. Melanie's torts teacher says the truth should be a prerequisite to a lawsuit. Well, sadly, takes motions to throw them out. But everyone's got their version of the truth, right? Nicole became a new member. Welcome, Nicole. And says, Miss Melanie, I finally joined. Love you. I love you more. I love you more. John Miller. Where has the summer gone? Been busy working. Oh, John Miller, the summer's not over till I say it over, number 1. Number 2, it's still really good weather here. It's still really good. What's today? What's the date? Today's the 9th, which means that Thursday is going to be the 9/11 anniversary, which is always a very, very, very sad day. Very sad day. And today is the 9/9, and it's the 9/9 portal. And I posted something on my Instagram about it. 9/9, September 9th, and then 2025. If you add up all the numbers, it's the 999 portal. I don't know, but it's supposed to be a good day. It's supposed to be a good day today. So be, open to all good things happening and putting all the bad stuff behind you and moving into the 999 portal. That's it. Gigi Love and Life says, had to resubscribe for the 3rd time. Everyone watch your accounts and change passwords frequently. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Gigi, for not only loving life, for, teaching me that I should love life too, and also for your 5, and also reminding everyone, make sure you're subscribed. It's PJ says, this makes me incredibly sad for true survivors and victims of SA. We are already not believed as it is, and this sets victims back even further. I always believe victims, but not this fake one. Thank you. It's PJ. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. And if you don't know the case of Josh Hubert, that case that we are covering that is on trial right now in Worcester, they denied Court TV access to film. It is not being televised. It's a horrible story about a 7-year-old girl that was raped, kidnapped, and then thrown off a bridge in the middle of the night in Worcester, off the I-290 bridge into Lake Quinsig for short. She lived. She swam 100 yards to shore. She knocked on someone's door in 2017, and the trial started yesterday. Turtleboy went there today. I know. And when I started covering it, some of you sent me his articles. And so I reached out to him and I said, do you remember writing these articles about this guy? I said, the trial is starting in Worcester. And he was like, oh my God. And so then he went today to the trial. And so I'm so glad that he went. And he not only did he go, he went to the bridge and he talked to a guy at the bridge. And the guy was telling him, I mean, it's insane. Like everyone who lives around that bridge still remembers this incident. It's horrific. The thing is this. I'm diverting for a second because I have to get away from this for a minute. 5 years later, the girl was 7. 5 years later in 2022, she disclosed that she had been raped by this guy. And the guy's name is Josh, and he had been a friend of the family since before she was born. It was her dad's best friend. She told the police right away, Josh kidnapped me and threw me in the river and off the bridge and drove me around in his car. And there's surveillance video of him allegedly driving his car around, checking the trunk. You know, some people say they saw him throw stuff off a bridge. There may be video surveillance of that. And right away, she said, it's this guy, Josh. 5 years later, she disclosed to her cousin or a family member that she had been raped by this guy also. And it has recently come out that on the girl's underwear, they found seminal DNA. Seminal DNA. That does not match Josh, but it matches the girl's father. I have so many questions, and I wish that this was being televised because of my questions, and I wish that I could be in there listening to the testimony, because the father testified yesterday and today, as did the mother, and they have an excuse for why his seminal DNA was found on her underwear. And hold on, because I'm going to read it to you from Mass Live, what their excuse was. I need to take a deep breath. Thank you, Norman. Thank you for reminding me. Sometimes, like, I forget to breathe and I just realize that I'm holding my breath. Am I the only person who does that? Like, sometimes I actually, like, forget to breathe. So give me a minute. And we're going to go over this tomorrow at length when we do our marathon stream tomorrow with all of the things that I know maybe it's stress, right? That you all of a sudden realize that you're holding your breath, and I'm like, why am I holding my breath? Why am I forgetting to breathe? It's so weird. Yesterday, the father took the stand and the mother took the stand. The girl also took the stand. She's now 15. I think that the court would not allow cameras in because it's a child. It's an SA case. And I mean, I get it, but we've seen other cases like that too. And there's ways of doing it on a delay, on a tape delay, not, photographing the victim, not, referring to her by initials, a lot of ways to do it, right? So there's no DNA linking this guy, Josh, to the victim. The only DNA found is that of the victim's father. And if she swam 100 yards, would that survive the swim? I don't know. If she didn't disclose the grape until 5 years later, when did they test the underwear? Was it still in evidence and they had it and they're like, oh, let's test it now? She was 7 at the time. When we went over this case, one of the detectives actually asked her, a 7-year-old, a male detective, by the way. So when he was choking you in the back seat, did you try and kick him off of you? A 7-year-old? I want to know who questioned her. I want to know if they had the proper people questioning her. I want to know if she was questioned about any SA. I want to know if they found semen in her underwear in 2017, why they didn't test it then. Did they do a grape kit when she was taken to the hospital that night? Because the police were called that night. When was it tested? I have so many questions. Was her underwear just sitting in a box somewhere? And then when she disclosed in 2020, they're like, oh, I guess we should test it. Right. And she was in the water. She swam 100 yards to safety. It's amazing. When you see the video of this bridge, it's amazing that she survived it all. She said, I played dead so that he would just leave me alone and it would stop. The ADA Emily Myers, who did the opening statement yesterday, said, "You will hear that despite testing seatbelts, seats of the defendant's car, and her clothing, there is no forensic link to the defendant. There is, however," she said, a forensic link to her father. And you will hear from her father about why these sperm cells were found in his daughter's clothes." Hubert is now 43 years old, and he is facing charges including attempted murder and rape of a 7-year-old in Worcester. This all happened in 2017, like I just said. And so I'm just going to give a little summary. I know a lot of you know about it because you were watching, but there's a lot of people here who might not know. Prosecutors say that Hubert, a childhood friend of the victim's father, kidnapped the girl from her grandparents' home after a party, then raped and strangled her in his car before throwing her from the I-290 overpass into Lake Quinsigamond. Despite the lack of DNA evidence against Hubert, Myers and fellow prosecutor Mark McShera pointed to surveillance footage of him cleaning his car the next morning in their opening statements on Monday. They also said the jury would hear from the girl and review physical evidence collected at the time, including a ligature mark and broken capillaries on her face. But Hubert's attorney, Kevin Larson, called the entire crime unbelievable. "For 8 years, I have been screaming into the abyss. It's unbelievable. The pieces, the puzzle pieces that the Commonwealth are going to try to jam together to support the unbelievable testimony of the victim," he said, repeating the word unbelievable about 12 times in his opening. So the girl testified. Her father and her mother and her grandfather all testified on Monday, which is yesterday. Both parents gave reasons why the father's DNA might have been on the underwear. Her father is expected to continue his testimony in court on Tuesday. He did. Aiden Carney was there. I'm sure he'll do that. He'll talk about that later on his show. Mother on DNA. "I can't say with 100% certainty. Her mother now lives with her children and her boyfriend in Spencer and is a psychiatric nurse at a local hospital. So she's not with the father anymore. They filed for divorce in 2020 after 12 years of marriage, and the mother testified that her relationship with her daughter's father is tenuous. During the girl's testimony, she said she no longer speaks to her father due to his problematic behavior, like not respecting her boundaries and privacy and his drinking issues. But despite their hard feeling, neither the girl nor the mother accused the girl's father of any inappropriate sexual actions toward the girl, even though prosecutors say his sperm DNA was found on her underwear following the attack. "Do you know how the sperm got on the underwear?" asked Larson. "I can't say with 100% certainty, but our laundry hamper was in the bathroom and everybody's clothes went into it," the mother replied. The mother denied she put dirty underwear on her daughter, but said that the child had worn the same pair that morning and into the night. She was wearing that pair after she changed into pajamas to sleep over at her grandparents' house after the party that August 2017 night, she said, and it was the pair on the child's body when she showed up soaking wet in pink pajamas on a stranger's doorstep by Lake Quinsigamond. The girl vehemently denied her father ever assaulted her or ever would, and told the jury he had done nothing inappropriate with her in her life. And here's what the father said. When the girl's father, a 42-year-old who works as a carpenter and lives in Worcester, took the stand, he told the courtroom he'd known Hubert since the two were children and considered him almost family. Of his relationship with his daughter, he told the jury, "I love her, she's my daughter." And when Larson asked if he would ever SA his own child, he replied, "No, I would never do that." While the girl's father acknowledged the DNA was found on her underwear, he had two different scenarios on how it could have ended up there. One was the same laundry theory that his ex-wife gave up. "We had multiple laundry baskets around the house. Clothes would just get mixed into one basket," he said. "The laundry would be brought down to our basement where we had the laundry machine and it would all be washed together," he said. Additionally, clothes would often be left on the floor of the family's bathroom, the father testified. "What, if anything, have you ever done in that bathroom that could have resulted in your sperm getting on some of the laundry?" asked McShera. "It's not touch DNA. It's not touch, it's sperm." If you have children with you, you might want to mute or put little earmuffs on them right now. "I have masturbated, and also the mother and I have had sex in the bathroom and things like that, even just cleaning up and things," he said, and trailed off. The father is expected to continue his testimony today, And today the jurors went on the field trip to the bridge, and they were going to take him, I think, on a boat. So there's that. He's been out of jail since 2017. He's been out on $50,000 bond, which tells you something about the strength of their case, right? I don't know. I got questions. Sorry, Josh, about your super chat. Thanks for your 5 babysitter screenshots. Does she mean screenshots from the hidden cameras she didn't allegedly wiretap Turtleboy on? I don't know if it was screenshots with her babysitter, like a conversation with the babysitter. That's what I think it referred to. But someone in the chat, you can tag Josh H and tell him, because I think that's what it was. FKR 2024 says, on behalf of myself and some fellow cupcakes, respectfully requesting a Cheetos emoji. Oh, that's a good one. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your 10. Check your membership status. Mine unsubscribes a lot. Yes, everyone, check it. Numi Parker says, also ridiculous. Jody 617, thank you for covering this. I pray for all true victims. So do I. Like this poor girl who's had to testify yesterday in the trial of Joshua Hubert. And both things could be true. Both things could be true. Joshua Hubert could have thrown her off the bridge and choked her and kidnapped her. And her father could have SA'd her that time or another time. Both things can be true, right? And she could have also been SA'd by Joshua Hubert that same night. Or Hubert. What's his name? Hubert. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate you. Space Dudette is here and has been here for 9 months and says, hey, cupcakes. Grant Smith, jealous. Thank you for your 5. Are we sure I wrote this counterclaim and not my equally deranged mommy? I don't know. Do you think that mommy would do free work for Lindsey Gaetani? I don't know. I don't know how tight they are. I have no idea. Thank you. And also, excellent username. Yeah, it's a lot of people have reached out to me, and I'll go over this more tomorrow during the stream, who knew Josh, and apparently he was like a street hockey coach, and a lot of parents have reached out to me and said, oh my God, he was my daughter's hockey coach. He seemed like a totally normal guy. He seemed totally like fine. We were shocked when we heard about this. Somebody else who he coached their son in street hockey. Other people who knew him who said he was a total creeper, and I 100% believe that he did this. Other people who know the father and say the father is, So listen, Aiden was in court today. I think he tweeted about it a bit and said that he found the father to be creepy also. So I don't know. And again, he's friends with this guy. These birds of a feather tend to flock together, right? The more trafficking stories that we cover and read about, the more these like groups of people seem to find each other and hang out together. So yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I know, Miss Jessica. I was wondering that too. Did she ever take night meds like Sodo? Yeah, that was a good one, Jessica. It flew by. I missed it. All right. Let's take a look at like 1 or 2 of these emails from Tully from Lindsey Gaetani to Tully. So we can see like how she was getting ramped up. I'm going to assume that many of you have seen them. But here she is providing us with on Pound Town stuff that, probably in Aiden's case, they're not allowed to disclose, but here we are. And Lindsey Gaetani is the one releasing them. So go figure. On November 12th of 2024, I know this is very small font. I will try and enlarge it a bit. There's an email from Lindsey Gaetani to Brian Tully. So this is November 12th of 2024, way before the setup, right? She's working with Tully. Some may say colluding. And if she hates him so much, why is she inviting him over? Oh, that's right, because she was setting him up. And it's to Tully. Here he is claiming he's writing another harassing article about me tonight, intended to intimidate me like the others, simply because he said I commented in a chat on a YouTube stream of Kate Peters. He's trying to intimidate me from speaking at all, whether in court, online, in the media, anything, or else I get threatened with more harassing articles. He's inciting harassment from thousands of people by telling them that I set up Aiden Carney, that I've put innocent men in jail, that I've lied about being raped. Now, because of his articles, thousands of people believe his lies and attack me on a daily basis. I am scared for my life and the lives of my children. All it takes is one crazy person to believe his lies and decide to take matters into his own hands and kill me. And I'm supposed to testify in court? That could potentially send someone to jail? What do they have her already? They already want her to testify about what in November? Why is there no charges being brought? This man is committing crimes against me and it's being ignored over and over. He was arrested in October 2023. But that was for the witness intimidation charges against, at the time, Jennifer McCabe, Matt McCabe, the Rolling Rally people, Julie Nagel, Proctor Buchanan. Proctor and Buchanan were dismissed. Chris Albert, Colin Albert. It didn't involve Lindsey Gaetani. It had nothing to do with Lindsey Gaetani. So why would she be expected to testify in their cases? Right? This was almost a year after he went to jail. Yeah, I'm scared. And she keeps ramping up. And like, he's totally blowing her off. And like, I can't even believe that he didn't just even call her. Like, this is kind of, if you believe what she's saying is true, he should at least call her back and try and at least calm her down. Because what had happened was she's pissed now that she feels used and that he did not respond to her. And now she's suing him and turning against him. And who knows what else she's going to roll over about. Maybe she gets immunity in exchange for testifying against Tully and Mello and Kate Peter. If there was, as such, something to set him up. Everything happened in 2023. Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry. This is 2024. Yeah, it was Christmas 2023. This is making my head spin. And so, yeah, her testifying, right. I was thinking this was November before he got arrested in December, but you're right. I'm wrong. Thank you so much. And then she keeps writing emails, and this is on November 15th, and it's also to Tully, and she keeps going on and on and on. And again, he's not responding to any of these emails. And she's getting mad and mad and mad and mad. And here we are. I'm still scared to death. What will happen to me if I testify? Look at what they're doing now. It's been a year of this terrorism with no signs of stopping. She says, I'm beginning to wonder if there's any investigation even happening. I haven't had any updates or answers or acknowledgement. Meanwhile, Kate is getting charge after charge for completely fake manufactured crimes. Yeah, testify against her own cases against Turtleboy. Thank you. Thank you. I was thinking it was November 2023. It's November 2024. There's a lot. And she's look at all the screenshots she's attaching. And here's this person, Christina Machete. I don't know who that is, but she says that she's now missing. No one's heard from her since. And then here's November 27th, 2024. TLDR. Look how long these emails are. They used her. I know. They used her and then they threw her away when they didn't need her anymore. Hell hath no fury. And who knows if she's going to roll over on all these people? Maybe. It'll be a smart thing to do. $11.24. I'm scared to death to even speak at all, let alone testify if this goes to court. They're trying to scare me and make me go away to never speak again. I'm scared for my life, Lieutenant Tully, and he's blowing her off. And sending receipts of what she's alleging. October 10th, 2024. Oh, so the exhibits are going backwards now? All of these emails to Tully are now in the public record, and civil court documents are much easier to get than criminal court documents. November 3rd, she's saying, I'm beginning to think that I should not testify. She's like, okay, maybe he'll respond to me if I say I'm not going to testify. She says she's going to a therapist for her anxiety, depression, and trauma. Her children are scared to go out in public. My oldest son is depressed because his personal information has been posted online by this person. And he keeps blowing her off. November 3rd. Screenshots. Okay, so this is November 3rd at 7:50 p.m. Then another one, November 3rd at 7:57 p.m. November 3rd at 8 p.m. November 4th at 4:15 a.m. She can't sleep. And there's November 21st, and she's mad that he didn't respond to her. And she's mad that Cosgrove released in discovery her unredacted report of grape, and also that Medfield police didn't do anything to prosecute it. Here's emails also to Dylan Haldeman. And if you would like, I will link the Google Doc link in the chat. So in the chat, in the show notes below the video, so you can go read this for yourself, because I'm done. Questions, thoughts, comments, concerns. Around the world. Thanks for being here for 22 months. And OG, cheers. Love when I can catch live. I love when you can catch it too. Aren't you on the West Coast? Sue says, we need to do the live stream we talked about in early August. The parallels scare the heck out of me. Girl, I don't remember what I did yesterday. What did we talk about in early August? Thank you, Suze. Oh, you sent me an email about something personal. Right. Pinky, thank you for getting me home from Huntsville. You're welcome, Pinky. It is my pleasure. It is absolutely my pleasure. Kindergarten cop with 25 years experience in NYPD says, going out on a limb that she and Tully had a previous conversation we aren't aware of, and that's why he's telling her to hit the bricks. Scott McGinnis, hello. DM, hello. Wait, hold on.
Hello.
Wait, I got to get this one out of here.
Hello, I'm here.
Hold on. Scott McGinnis.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I'm here.
Hello. T.A. Meepo Marcy's handpicked state police detective group was an all-star list of goons. Trooper Proctor was the lowest man on the totem pole and the only one fired. Do you think he'll be the only one fired, though, in the end, when all of this comes to fruition and when sunlight is the best disinfectant? You know, Bob Alessi said some very interesting things the other night on Sunday. Was it Sunday? On the Glares fundraiser for Aiden Carney. And it was so telling that David Giannetti and Bob Alessi both showed up for the stream to support Aiden Carney. Said a lot of really interesting things, and I suggest that you go back and watch it on Glare's channel. Give him the like, and you can, scroll through and find it. I want to say I was on with Kelly Reed, Mark Betterow, and Bob Alessi around, I don't know, 7 p.m. maybe, 7, 8 p.m. You can scroll through there and find us. And then David Yaneda was on earlier in the afternoon by himself with Glare right after Auntie Deb was on there. So go check it out. And very interesting. I did. Did you send that to me? Welcher's emotional support laptop says, if you like the Cardi B trial, check out comedian Josh Johnson's set about it on the Tubes of You. Hilarious. Somebody sent it to me. Was it you? It was very funny. Yes, Nurse Kim was on there too, but not at the same time that I was on there. I was on there with actually Andrea Burkhart, Mr. Bettero, Kelly Reed, and Baba Leslie. And then Andrea had to go. And then it was us. And then Nurse Kim came on like for the last, she came on late, like 10:30, 11. It went until after midnight and they raised over $21,000. So it was, I hope you guys liked it. Yeah, you did. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and that it was interesting for you. Andrea L says, how could these haters possibly watch these streams with all of these amazing legitimate law people on the shows really think they're in the right? I don't know. Delusions are a funny thing, you know? They're a funny thing. They call me a hack and a grifter, and I don't know anything about criminal law because I'm a civil litigator, and you know. So I guess if you're a civil litigator, you have no right to comment on anything criminal because you can't possibly know anything about criminal law. Because listen, try and understand delusional people. It's an exercise in futility. I got to close out of this document because I have a feeling that's probably what's. It won't even close now. It's probably what's slowing my computer down. Oy vey shmia. Is anybody Donna Adelson out yet? It's insane because like everyone's still talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. Adam Lally resignation. Hi. Hello. Regarding Hubert, would not be the first time that an ex-wife covered for purposes of support and medical insurance. See Dean Weeks case, Clinton, Mass. Tried to kill her. She didn't prosecute. She needed his medical insurance. Wow. I know so many people are done with the Adelsons waiting for Wendy. I didn't cover the trial. I didn't cover it. I understand why people got it. I mean, I understand why people were so into it. Somebody explained it to me like, imagine if Brian Higgins is in jail, Brian Alberts is in jail, and now it's the trial of Jennifer McCabe. And I was like, okay, I get it. Now I get it. Now I get why some people are so obsessed with it. And that I'll tune in for, and I'll be right here with you. I'll be right here with you. Yeah, they're all wondering about Wendy. The spirits say that Wendy is next. We'll see. I know. Still talking about it because they want Wendy to be arrested, but how long are they going to talk about it for? How long are you going to talk about it for? I mean, every day, forever until it happens. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Well, there's plenty of other cases we could talk about in the meantime that I will talk about. Kindergarten cop says Wendy was framed. I don't know. I'm tired, man. This exhausts me. This is an exhausting case. Let's see what we should do because, you know, we're nice like that. I'll teleport you guys over somewhere. Where do you want to go? Is anybody alive right now? You know, only certain people allow it. Like Glare has no idea how to work the back channel of YouTube, and he doesn't allow people to redirect in his direction. And I'm like, dude, I could send you, you know, however many thousand people are watching me right now, but you don't allow it. And he's like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, well, maybe Cherry got to teach him how to do it. I just because of my own personal, you know, I don't want to. I'm not like signing you to anyone talking about Don Adelson because I'm done with it. Oh my God. I could have increased my viewership and my watch hours and my everything if I covered it. I just couldn't get into it. So I was like, if I can't cover the whole trial, what is the point? I can send you over to Turtleboy. What time is he coming on? 9 p.m. I'll send you over there. You can just go set the reminder bell because there's not a lot of people. out there who allow it. And so you can go over there and you can hear all about Hubert today. And then you can come back to me tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to start at 9:30 tomorrow because there's so much. No, Glaire's redirecting it doesn't work unless he fixed it. Unless he fixed it since like yesterday. Adam Ly's resignation, I covered that. Aunt BB is here. Queen Mel, may I add to your list of many questions? Did you see the stuff around the Priscilla Presley case? Wow. Oh, wow. Is there anything you'd be interested in? I would love, I don't even know what you're talking about. So absolutely. I don't know anything about what happened with Priscilla Presley's case. So I'm going to go dig into it now. Thank you. Usually I get news alerts regarding all of this stuff. Aunt BB2 was my first member on my channel ever. She has a special place in my heart. First member, when I first opened membership, she's the OG of the OGs. And Mama Shay also is an amazing, amazing contributor to the channel. Hey, give Glare a break. He's only been on YouTube for 6 years. Says Cosgrove's reverse mortgage. Yeah, I did cover Rick Allen. You know what I did? When all of my friends were at the actual trial of Rick Allen, like Bob Mata and Andrew Burkhart, and I don't know Lawyer Lee, but I would call her a friend if I did know her because I think she's awesome. We're at the actual trial of Richard Allen. I was here in my home studio catching people up on all of the motions about the Odinist and all of the other third-party culprits, and we went over it at length. And so that's a crazy case. And Letteros by Betteros says, I think of Richard Allen every single day. Very sad. All right, come back with tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you have your notifications set. Make sure you have your notifications enabled. Are there any further questions on this filing by Lindsey Gaetani? I want to answer all of your questions. I just can't read any more of it to you. If there are any questions, I will wait a few minutes to see if any more questions come in. And you don't have to pay the super chat. I'm watching the chat right now. So if you have any questions regarding it, just put them in the chat. Shirley says, God, she's such a drama queen. No one has ever posted anything about any of her kids' personal info. I don't know because I don't live on this Twitter, so I don't know. But I'm assuming that one of her 40 pages of exhibits, she absolutely attached something like that, maybe, and redacted it. I don't know. I'm not really quite sure. Everybody's good. No more questions. No, I can't. Yes, he will have to respond to this because it's not really a motion, Kate, and that's a great question. What it is an answer with counterclaims, and the counterclaims against Aidan will have to be answered by his attorney. He has an attorney representing him for this civil case, probably on contingency, although I don't know what they'd ever be able to collect from Lindsey Gaetani because she's probably judgment proof. I don't know if she has a job. I don't know if she's on public assistance, but it's not like if she ever wins lotto, maybe they could collect. So maybe he is paying the civil attorney. They will have to answer the counterclaims and either admit or deny and put in their affirmative defenses for that. So yes, he will have to submit an answer. Thank you, Mama Shade. Priscilla Presley case. Oh, yeah. You know, I love celebrity stuff. I'm all over it. Did Lally resign? No, but somebody has Adam Lally's resignation as their username because they've been hoping that for a long time. And I guess did you change it back, Bo? Bo was our boots on the ground at the Brian Camp trial. Oh my God, that was a great trial, wasn't it? Wasn't that a great acquittal? That's how we met Tom Kokanowski, one of our favorite attorneys from Massachusetts. Yeah, everybody's done. Is it considered a Gaetani letter? No, it's what purports to be a legal filing, but it wasn't procedurally proper. I can say you are all set. Thank you, Special K. We're all set. Oh my gosh. All right, you guys, I'm going to fall into the Priscilla Presley rabbit hole tonight. I'm doing it. All right. Thank you to the moderators because this is always a very, 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 very tough topic to cover because that is why we have to protect the chat with requirements on how long you have to be a subscriber to even chat because the trolls are out in full force. I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you have your notification set. I'm going to send you to Turtleboy now. So if you want to watch it, you can just set your notification and go back later because he comes on at 9 o'clock. It is now 7:04. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy, and stay safe out there because it's a jungle. Thanks, mods. I love you. And thank you to, I will remember to breathe. I hope. I'll try. I'll see you in the morning. Cupcakes. Love you with all my heart.